Good morning. In accordance with Sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act 1990 as amended, this meeting of the Committee of Adjustment of the City of Toronto is called to order. Oh, I see. No. The Committee of Adjustment considered applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning that applies to property, permission to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consent to survey property to create new lots. Now I'd like to make a land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, and the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 and with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Now, Committee of Adjustment public hearings are now conducted in a hybrid in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submission in person, and others will participate virtually by electronic means through WebEx, an online digital platform. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City Planning YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connected with their computer, tablet, smartphone, or telephone, and have the options of participating via video or audio only. All virtual participants will automatically be muted on entering. When the item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator, one person at a time. We ask that you also mute your device until you're called on to speak. And those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelists when your item is being held. During this time, your camera will be enabled. You will only be visible during your 5-minute allotted speaking time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as attendee. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadline. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during video appearance. The host will remove you from the panelist role if you fail to respect this instruction. How to receive a copy of the decision of the committee. People attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee on an application must fill out a decision request. And those participating virtually need to submit a written request for decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, address, and email address because the Committee of Adjustment and also the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, will be sending notification only and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal the decision to the Toronto Local Appeal Body, TLAB, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decision. Only the applicant, the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, specified persons and public bodies, as those terms are defined in the Planning Act, are permitted to appeal decision of the Committee of Adjustment. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. Now I will read out the hearing procedure. First, when you're making your submission, when an application is not contested, the agent or applicant may proceed with the presentation if desired. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are to advise the chair should they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions and or take the matter into committee for decision. Each speaker, including the applicants or the agent will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will comment when you are reaching your 5 minutes. Any presentation or other material you wish to submit to committee may have been emailed in advance of the hearing. Staff and committee members cannot accept material at the hearing. When addressing the committee, please clearly state your name and address. Please remember to confine your remark to the matters outlined in the application. The applicant or agent will proceed first and will make a presentation to the committee on the application. Please note that the committee may not entertain revisions to proposal at the hearing today. The committee may decide to defer the application if substantially revised to ensure the revised application is accurate and that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Then individuals either in support or opposed to the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call on speakers in the hearing room here, then those participate through WebEx. Committee members may also ask each speaker after they have finished the presentation, ask questions to each speaker. When all speakers are finished, applicant or the agent has opportunity to rebut only those issues that were raised by the speakers. This will mark the end of the discussion. The applicant will then be taken into committee for decision. Just a friendly reminder for those who are in person in the committee room, please turn off your cell phone or put it in silent mode now. Thank you. And we have a few administrative items to go through. Please confirm the minutes of the last 2 meetings.
Good morning, Madam Chair and committee members. Yes, we have 2 sets of minutes for adoption this morning, January 24th, 2024, and January 31st, 2024.
Okay. Yeah,
I
Peter,
move adoption.
Second, I don't have the name of the participant.
Read.
Well, Mr. Reed, second. All in favor? Thank you. Okay. And then, are there any deferral requests?
Through you, Madam Chair, perhaps maybe we should deal with any conflict of interest.
Oh, okay, I will
with
that.
That
was
to closed
okay.
files, and then we'll deal with deferred requests.
Oh, yes, that's okay. Any declaration of conflict of interest from staff and the panel? No. Okay, then we can deal with the deferral request.
Sure. Through you, Madam Chair, there's 4 files that are before us today to be closed. These are files that were once before Committee of Adjustment, were deferred, and the owners are no longer pursuing their application.
Okay.
So the first one is 24 Merritt Road, file number A0260/23TY.
Yes.
The second is 460.
What item is on our agenda?
So it's not items on the agenda, these are
Oh.
just files that are required to
Oh,
be
okay, they're not
closed.
on, okay.
So we can have one motion to close all 4 files.
Yes.
So the second file is 460 College Street, file number A0682/21TY. The third file is 108 Colbeck Street, file number A1497/21TY. And the fourth is 136 Ava Road, A0518/22TEY.
So can we have a motion to close these files? Yeah, Mr. Goss, motion. Anyone second, please? Mr. Reed, second. All in favor? Close, yeah. And the deferral, are we doing the deferral?
Through you, Madam Chair. So we do have 3 requests for deferral this morning. Item number 10, 11 Willard Gardens, file number A1043/23TEY. Item number 12, 14 Mackenzie Avenue, file number A1047/23TEY. And file number item 14, 570 Harvie Avenue, file number A1055/23TEY. So
Yes.
perhaps we may want to deal with the deferrals
First?
right off the top.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the first one is item number 10, right?
That's correct.
Do we have the agents here? Please come up, item number 10, 11 WILLARD Gardens. Okay, do we have the, yeah? Yes, please come up, yeah.
Are you item 10?
Item 10, yes.
Item 10? Okay.
11,
Willard?
Well, we would like to ask.
Just, yeah.
Good morning.
Yes.
I was running, so you excuse me.
It's okay.
I would like to ask for a deferral because we found out that there is some misunderstanding the way we look at it, or maybe not clear, we didn't clarify something or made it too clear, so we'd like to address it. And if it's okay, if we can have a deferral, it would be appreciated.
So you will be working with the community planning?
I'm sorry.
You will be working with the staff to clear the variances?
I would
Okay.
continue to work with this and.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, and we'll engage, we have already engaged the arborist and planning department, and we're gonna make
Yeah.
sure that it's all clear.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other speakers on this deferral request?
Sorry, through you, Madam Chair, just because we have to share the mics, because there's not enough mics in this committee room.
Okay.
So I just want to ensure that Nicholas Singh is not on the line. He was registered to speak in opposition. I'm just checking with staff to make sure that he's not on the line, and then
I'll
we
give you a
can.
couple of minutes, yeah.
Okay, so we're trying to contact him?
Somebody was opposing what? The whole?
Well, wait, we can't have that conversation.
No.
Just wait, please.
Because, yeah, what? Oh, yes, sorry, we forgot to ask you your name and address, that's for our record. Yeah,
My name?
state your name and your address.
My name is Chaim Ribak, and my address is 5. Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Chaim Ribak, and my address is 5 Kenneth Avenue, Suite 805.
We got that, right?
That's good.
Okay. Now we are sort of trying to wait for a registered speaker online. We're trying to connect with him, whether he has anything to say with the deferral request.
Nicholas, can you hear us? Nicole? Can you hear us?
It's gonna be a fun day. Okay, through you, Madam Chair.
Yes.
We've made attempts, we can't hear from Nicholas, so we will.
Sorry, it showed that he was speaking through WebEx.
Yeah, we just can't hear him, and I don't know if he can hear us.
Oh, he seems to be still there.
So we'll try one more time. Nicholas Singh, can you hear us?
Just, yeah, it's fine. We should try to give him a chance to speak, but, yeah.
No?
Nicholas, my husband, is driving right now, so I've taken over the phone. You can give me instructions.
Okay, so there's a deferral request. Are you in support of the deferral request, yes or no?
There is a deferral request. Are you in support of the deferral? Yes.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That's all we need to, from you. Okay, so the only registered speaker also agree with the deferral request. So, yeah, so can we vote on that, please? Yeah. Have motion, Mr. Weed.
Thanks, Chair. I move a motion to defer the application. I think it sounds like the applicant is willing to revise it and work with the neighbors to come to a more suitable application.
Anyone second, please? Ms. Goss, second. All in favor? Yeah, the item is deferred for the next available time. They will arrange that. Good. Yeah, thank you, yeah. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
okay. The next item,
Through you, Madam Chair, item number 12, 14 Mackenzie Avenue. File number A1047/23TEY. They are requesting a deferral.
yes,
We do have 4 people registered to speak in opposition,
okay,
as well as the agent.
yes. So can we have the agent now?
Yep.
Yeah, please. Is the agent online or in person?
Morning, Madam
okay.
Chair and committee members. My name is Marin Zabzuni at 1140 the Queensway.
Okay, can you tell us the reason for deferral? Thank you.
Yes, we have been working closely with city planning to make revisions to our drawings in order to reduce and even eliminate some of the variances. And I also know that the homeowners are speaking with neighbors to try and have a compromise and meet in the middle to get this supported and approved eventually.
Okay, thank you. So the next, we are going to ask those registered speakers the opinion on the deferral request. Thank you. Yeah.
So through you, Madam Chair, I'm going to ask for Matthew Hayward to come up.
Can you tell us name and address, please?
Yes, good morning, members of the committee. My name is Matthew Lakatos Hayward, spelled Lakatos-Hayward. I'm counsel to Jacques Bernier and Lynn Bilodeau, the owners of 10 Mackenzie Avenue. My address, for the record, is 333 Bay Street, Suite 3400, Toronto, Ontario. Madam Chair and members of the committee, I'm aware that the applicant is requesting a deferral. Given the context of the neighborhood, that this is within a heritage conservation district, and the unique circumstances relating to this application, our client would prefer that the committee adjudicate on this application, but if it won't object to a deferral request. However, I would request that the applicant consult with Ms. Bilodeau and Mr. Bernier before they bring any revised plans back. And I would also ask for notice with respect to a new hearing be provided to our clients. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We will strongly suggest it to the applicant to work with the communities, with the neighbors. Okay.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
So, next speaker, please. Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, I'm going to ask to unmute the owner of 49 Mackenzie Avenue.
Yes, it's...
Hello, my name is Bobby Siu, the owner of 49 Mackenzie. I reviewed the plan, the proposed plan, and I find that the front of the house is too close to the road.
Sorry, would you like to address just on the deferral request? We're going to deal with that's the deferral, whether you prefer or you're opposed to that thing, please.
Yes, I support the deferral.
You support the deferral. Thank you very much.
At this time, Madam Chair, we will unmute the owner of 12 Mackenzie Avenue.
Yes. Please.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, hi. My name is Jana Tanasi. I'm, together with my husband, we're the owners of 12 Mackenzie. We do support the deferral, provided that we do receive more timely notification for between the time that the changes are made and the next hearing, and hopefully the changes are, significant, because they would have to be.
Yes. Yes, because the applicants, the reason for the request is to work with community planning, also with the neighbors. I think that he will reach out to you, yeah.
Yes, we look forward to that.
Through you, Madam Chair, at this time, we'll unmute the owner of 43 McKenzie Avenue.
Okay, please, number 43, yeah.
Hello, it's David Allgood, the owner of 43 McKenzie. I would support the position.
Can you give us your name too, please?
Yeah, David Allgood.
Oh, good, okay.
And I'd support the position given by the representatives of the Billados, subject to the same conditions.
Okay, thank you very much, yes.
Through you, Madam Chair, that's it.
That's it. So can we have the applicant back?
Agent.
The agent, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Hello there.
Yes, we're going to make a decision on the deferral. It seems that everybody in support of the deferral, for the reason that you have told us that you will work with community planning and also the neighbors. Will you agree to that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so do we have a motion from the panel? Yeah, Mr. Wee, yeah.
Yeah, so I move that we defer this application in order to give the owners and the agent time to speak to the neighbors, to Heritage, and to community planning to resolve their differences.
Yes, anyone second to that motion? Mr. Goss, second, yes. All in favor, please. Unanimously defer. So item 12 is defer, 40 McKenzie Avenue. Thank you.
Through you, Madam Chair, there is another deferral request for item number 13, 273 Major Street, file number A1053/23TEY. I'm going to ask the owner to come to the podium.
In person, okay.
Good morning. My name is
Hey, good
Tiffany
morning.
Welch,
Yes.
273 Major Street.
Yes, so you sort of know, the first question is to ask you why you want to have a deferral.
My work situation has changed, and I'd
Yes.
like to explore modifying my proposal. I have, for this proposal, worked with my neighbors. You'll see in the file, et cetera, and I'll continue to do that and work with the committee on any modifications to accommodate my new work situation.
Okay. All right, thank you. There any other
Through you,
speakers?
Madam Chair, we don't have any registered speakers for this item, so we
Okay.
can go right into a motion.
Yes, and yeah, the reason is so that they can make modifications and also work with the neighbors. Okay, any motion, please? Go again, Mr. Wade.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Chair. I'm happy to move a motion for approval, for deferral of the application to allow the applicant chance to reassess the proposal.
And anyone second to that motion? Yes, Mr. Wade, a second. All in favor? Yeah. So, defer unanimously. Thank you. See you again. Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, I think we can go through the last request for deferral at this time, and we'll just unmute the speaker.
Which item is that?
Is that item 14?
Oh, 14? Okay.
So item number 14, 570 Harvie Avenue, file number A1055/23TEY. We only have the agent speaking on this file, no registered speakers.
Okay, is the agent online? Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, please have the agent, thank you.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes, my name is Nathan.
Sorry, through you, Madam Chair, speaker, you're coming in very choppy.
Okay, hold on. Am I still talking? Give me 1 second here.
we can't hear you, it's very, yeah, very wobbly.
Okay. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
It's still very choppy.
Okay, 1 second here.
Now?
Say that again?
Is it better now?
Perfect,
Oh,
thank you.
much better, yes.
Okay, great. My name's Michael McEwen. I'm a resident of 570 Harvie Avenue, the owner. I need to request a deferral because I missed a minor variance on the front yard setback. I didn't realize that enclosing our front porch would require another minor variance done. So I'm currently getting a zoning review done, and once that's complete, I will forward it to the technician, and then I'll apply again.
Okay. Is your address same as the property, 570?
Correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Thank you. There's no other speakers, so we can make a motion on just your, after you speak. Yeah. So do we have a motion? Yes. Mr. Gross.
I'll move to defer.
Yes, second, please. Oh, yeah, Mr. Gogan. Yeah, second. All in favor, please. Unanimously defer.
Through you, Madam Chair, that is all that I see on my list for requests for deferral. We can now start with item number 1.
Yes. Item number 1, 80 WROXETER Avenue. The purpose for this application is to alter the existing 2.5-story semi-detached dwelling by constructing a rear first-story addition and a front third-story dormer. They are seeking 3 variances. And on this file, we also received a copy of survey site plan, floor plan elevation, and this decision affecting the subject property, and Metro Link development permit. Metro Link two permits. And revised plan, revised site plan, and revised zoning notice. And then that we also received staff report from community planning, and also advisory staff report from project analysts, third-party project review, Metrolink. So can we have the speaker, please, agent, please?
Through you, Madam Chair, we only have the agent speaking on this file, no registered speakers.
Okay. Can we?
So the agent has been unmuted.
Okay.
Yeah. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Anthony Del Grosso. My address is 406 Horsham Avenue, and I am the agent for the owners at 80 WROXETER Avenue.
Okay. Since you do not have any opposition, may I ask the panelists whether they require a presentation from you? Okay. They do not require a presentation for you. Do you have anything you want to address to the panel before we take it into committee for discussion and motion?
No, I'm good with the decision. As long as you have the updated material, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, on this one, there were revised site plan, revised zoning notice. Can the applicant go through the revisions of the minor variances, if there are any? Yes,
we actually received in the supplemental material that you have a revised site plan and also the change of the soft landscape percentage. Can you go through these changes for us so that we can get them done accurately, please?
Yeah, so I guess the first variance would have been the height. We had an issue with height. Now, with the front of the house, that's an existing roof, so it's an automatic variance based on the allowable height. But the addition part, the third story that we're adding, just to maintain or to achieve an 8-foot ceiling height, you know, we've had that variance of the 9.39 meters. But we are creating a flat roof, so the roof at the addition will not be visible from the street. We're maintaining it underneath that level.
Yes, I just like to for you to actually go through the 3 variances on our agenda and go through each one and tell us what is being changed and which one is changed and to what the new numbers, please.
Yeah, so that was the new numbers on the height, the 9.39 that was requested. So that we have now.
Okay.
The floor space index was always a variance from the beginning, so that stays as is.
Okay.
Item number 3, what the owners and plan, we've agreed to remove. There was a secondary deck on the property, and a gravel area, so that variance was 7%. But with the revision, we are now at 38%. We will remove that secondary deck and gravel area and add sod. The planters will stay though, for flowers
So
and
the
bushes.
number, the new percentage is 38%,
Yes,
and it is 27.606 square meter?
correct, yes.
Okay, so whether the staff can record that, yeah, okay. And there's also a staff report recommend us to tie it to the revised site plan. Would you agree to that too?
Yes, the owners are agreed, we're good with that, yes.
Okay, those are the changes. So thank you very much. Do you have any question to the speaker? We don't have any questions for, so we are ready to take this into committee for decision now. Okay. Anyone comment first and then decision? Okay, no comment, and then motion, please. As amended, and yeah. Oh, Mr. Reed, yes.
Yeah, so given that the variances are minor and that the landscaping variance especially has been reduced to really being minor, and they've made an effort to address that issue, I move that we approve these variances with the condition set by planning.
Yes, condition and also as amended.
And as amended, yes, thank you.
Yes. Anyone second to that? Mr. Reed, second. All in favor? Unanimously approved. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And the next item is number 2. Just wait, let me get this. Number 2 is 34 CREWE Avenue, and for this, the purpose for this application is to alter the existing 2-story detached dwelling by constructing a front 1-story addition, which is enclosing the porch, into habitable space. They are seeking 4 variances. And also on this item, we have received a copy of survey site plan, floor plans and elevations, 2 photographs of trees on the subject property, a cover letter from agent, and 5 signature petition in support of occupant of 35, 36, 39, 38, 42 CREWE Avenue. And also we received 1 opposition from number 32 CREWE. Please, do we have
Through
the
you,
agent?
Madam Chair, we do have the agent online, no other registered speakers.
Okay.
Mr. Smith, you've been unmuted.
Hi, it's Jay Smith, agent for the application, 2814 Hollington Crescent.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, do you realize you have 1 opposition? Do you know, are you aware of that? And then can you speak to that a little bit so that, yeah.
Absolutely, Madam Chair. We did reach out to the neighbor. We had a meeting set up for a week ago Monday. The neighbor did not attend the meeting. We have tried a few times since then to connect with the neighbor and reschedule the meeting to go over concerns. None of those have been answered. So we have made multiple attempts to engage the neighbor in this. I know that the neighbor's concern is privacy, but given that right now the current front porch can be used as sitting space and is open to the front yard and open to viewing of the neighbor at number 32 CREWE Avenue, we are going to be enclosing that. The wall that is facing the neighbors will not have windows due to the proximity to the property line. So I believe we're actually increasing privacy for that neighbor. There will no longer be a place for the owners of 34 to sit in the front yard. The only landing will be the OBC required 3-foot by 3-foot landing on the existing walkway. So I believe we are addressing the concerns of the neighbor. The enclosed front porch will be 0.01 meters behind the current front wall of number 32. So I don't believe that overlook or anything like that will be a concern, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. Just wait, we have 1 question for you. Mrs. Smith, yeah.
Yeah, the neighbor also expressed concern about the construction process and their driveway being used for construction. Would you undertake to make sure that the neighbor's not overly affected by construction and their property isn't used?
Through you, Madam Chair, absolutely. The issue came up not with the current owners, but with the developer who built this dwelling or renovated the dwelling. So we understand there was issues. The current homeowner bought this. After all that was completed, there is a driveway, parking space, and room on number 34 for any construction vehicles. We are leaving the existing front porch. We're leaving the existing roof. So it's literally, 3 walls, a door, and a window. And, construction that would impact the neighbor would be over in, I would imagine, a very short amount of time. If there's any other question, I'd be happy to answer it.
Yes, I will go. Any other questions, please? Okay, we do not have any more questions. We are now ready to move this into committee. Do you have the last thing you want to address before we do that? Please.
No, thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, now we are in committee. Any comment and or motion, please? Mr. Peter, go ahead.
Thanks, Chair. I think this is a very reasonable application, and I move approval, but I would like to tie it to the site plan and side elevations just to ensure that this extension is limited to the first floor.
It's called site plan, or do we have a number, or what?
Site plan and side elevations, I'm not sure of the number.
Site plan and elevations.
The side elevations.
The side elevation, plus the two side there.
Yeah,
okay.
I think the variances are minor
Okay.
in both amount and impact.
Okay, thank you. Anyone agree and second to that, please? Mr. Gauss, second. Yes.
Yeah, and I'll just note for the record that the side elevation is page 10 of the
Page 10. Yeah.
of the plans.
Okay. You're seconding that also
I am
too?
seconding it.
So we have a second, so all in favor? Unanimously approved. Thank you. With the condition tied to the site plan and the two side elevations. Thank you. Okay, thank you. We can move to item number 3, which is 48 Arlington Avenue. For the purpose for this application is to construct interior alteration within the existing auxiliary building, which is a detached garage, for a new powder room on the ground floor and a new second floor for storage within the existing auxiliary building. In the rear yard of the existing detached 2.5-story dwelling, no exterior construction is proposed, and the interior parking space in the ground floor of the auxiliary building will remain. They are seeking one variance. So on this item, we also receive a copy of survey site plan, floor plans and elevations, 4 photographs of the auxiliary building, and 1 photograph of trees, covering letter from Susan Glickman and Roy Tom Kine, the owner. Decision number affecting the property. And we also have support from a few 6 addresses on Arlington and 3 addresses on Greenside Avenue. Can we have the agent, please? Yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, we're going to call up the agent and the owner, and we don't have any registered speakers for this one.
Okay, thank you. Please come up. Yeah.
Where the owners, when are they agents?
You can tell us the name. Yeah, please. Then. Yeah.
Susan Glickman, G-L-I-C-K-M-A-N, Madam Chairman and Committee, and
I'm Roy Tom Klein, and we live at 48 Arlington.
Okay, thank you. It seems that you're only seeking one variance, and I will check with the panel whether they want a presentation from you. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Yes. Oh my God. Okay, panel, do you require a presentation? Yes, Mr. We have one question for you. Go ahead, Mr. Wee.
I just wanted to understand why you're putting a powder room in the garage.
When you're 75, maybe you'll catch the drift. If you're and so I've been in the, it's winter. I'm out there in the garage. All of a sudden, have to pee. And we have a staircase, but not only the door, the staircase, the coat. You gotta make it to, so that's basically it.
It's personal need. Any other questions, please? So oh, yes, we
yeah.
have another one. Yeah.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask the same question, and I guess in that same vein, it's just that you say you're using it as a storage space, but it makes it seem as though maybe you have some other purposes for it, and I'm just curious on that. Not that there's anything wrong with using an auxiliary building how you need to, but.
Well, we have, we wrote a cover letter that we have our hobbies. You want to say something?
Well, basically, our basement is totally filled with stuff. We want to move it into the garage, so I want to start seedlings. I'm a gardener. I want to have space. I have a paint. I've got a ton of canvases. We just feel like if we want to stay in this house, we have to have more usable space in the house. So you want to just like move stuff out of it.
That's nice and makes sense. And just another question, I saw that you actually put in the garage. You've been in that home for quite a long time, back in something like 2004. Just curious why you, was this always the intention?
No, we used to have a canoe. We used to store it. We had the height, and then we sold our canoe, and we think there's all that space going to waste. And we're feeling like our house is closing in on us. And we thought, like, if we could just move stuff into the garage, we could stay in our house and enjoy it.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? So there are no other questions. I'm going to move into discussion with the yeah. So let's discuss this. Actually, I would think that the good thing is that they're not doing any exterior alteration. That's the only thing I want to mention. So, yeah, any comment or motion? Mr. Goss has it.
I would just move straight to a motion. I agree the impact on the neighborhood is essentially none because it's all interior, and I think the explanations given by the applicants all make tons of sense. So it's quite minor, and I vote to approve.
Yeah, Mr. Reed.
I'll second. I guess I just wanted
Second,
to,
yeah.
I just wanted to say that I think obviously the concern was to make sure it wasn't going to be habitable space, but I feel like the explanation has really addressed that issue.
Yes, okay, we have a second, so all in favor? Unanimously approved. Thank you very much for coming. Yeah. And no condition needed. Thank you. Okay, now we move to item number 4, which is 33 Herbert Avenue. The purpose for this application is to alter the existing 2-story semi-detached dwelling by constructing a 2-story rear addition and a rear ground floor deck. They are seeking 3 variances. Also on this item, we received copy of survey site plan, floor plans and elevations. Staff report on tree protection on the urban forestry. And also they received 12 letters of support and all in Herbert Avenue. Yes. Can we have the agent or the applicant, please? Yeah.
Good morning, Chair.
Yes, we hear you. So, do we have any opposition to speak, registered speaker?
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have someone, I believe, just observing. Are they online? We may just want to unmute them. Or do we, in opposition? Okay, so we do have one person in opposition.
Okay, so you do have opposition. Maybe you can give us a very brief of 5-minute maximum presentation, please. Yeah.
I believe that the person observing is actually the property owners. However, I'll give a brief rundown. My name is Daniel Falzon, and I'm here on behalf of the owners of 33 Herbert Avenue. We were seeking relief from 3...
Can you give us also your address, please? Yeah.
Yeah, my address is Unit A4, 9131 Keel Street in Vaughan. We are seeking relief from 3 bylaws, all of them pertaining to a proposed 2-story...
Hello?
Through you, Madam Chair, we'll
Yes.
get the agent back on.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sorry for the interruption. We have you now. We can hear you.
You can hear me now? Okay.
Please, yeah.
I guess I'll start the presentation again, but we're seeking relief from 3 bylaws, all of them pertaining to a proposed 2-story addition, which is to replace a 1-story addition at the rear of the dwelling. 33 Herbert is a fairly deep lot with a significant rear yard depth. It's fairly common to properties in the area. Rear additions have become common as they allow for efficient use of the deeper lots while still being able to provide a fairly generous rear yard. The proposed addition is 2 stories, which is a footprint that's similar to most in the area. Building 2 stories in height is allowed for a larger FSI, while at the same time, flat roof over the addition has kept the massing of the 2nd story fairly modest. The exterior sidewall of our proposal is to be adjacent to the existing exterior sidewall of the dwelling, and it's a fairly old building, which results in the eaves being closer than permitted based on current bylaws. The eaves will not be any closer than they already are. We have worked with planning staff and did not see any public objections to our application. Additionally, we have received 12 letters of support, which includes support from both of our direct neighbors. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding our file. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you. Is the person registered to speak, in opposition? Yes, we will listen to the opposition.
You've been unmuted?
Yeah, hi, I'm just listening. I'm the participant in the debate. Thank you.
Hello, if you can state your first and last name and the municipal address that you reside at.
Yeah, no, I'm just listening and learning. It's not.
Sorry, we can't hear you. Can you speak up a bit?
I'm just learning. It's not, the reason I'm participating is just for learning.
We can't hear you.
So are you just observing?
Yes.
You don't want to speak?
No, no.
Okay, thank you.
No.
Do you have any question to the panel? No, no, I can't hear. Okay, so let's go back to the agent. Can we have the agent back? Yes. Okay, the person in opposition does not have any questions. Do you have any issues or any point that you want to address the panel before we move it into in discussion? Please. Yeah.
If there are any questions that the panel has, I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, I look at there aren't any questions either. So we are ready.
Then you may proceed.
Yeah. I asked her. Yeah. Also, she didn't have any question. Yeah. So now I am going to move this into discussion. Okay. Yeah. Any comments or decision? And yeah. Mr. Reid, Peter Reid.
Thanks, Chair. I think this is a very straightforward application. I think the new development that's being proposed is masked in a way that is not going to impact the neighbors in a too significant way. I think it is indicative of types of renovations and extensions that are happening in the area, so I think it does fit within the context. I think the variances are minor, and I move approval of the application subject to urban forestry condition 2.
Yeah, there's a forestry condition. Okay, anyone second? Yeah, Mr. Gogan, yes, a second. And all in favor? Unanimously approved with the urban forestry condition. Yes. Thank you very much. Okay, now we move to number 5. Item number 5 is 473 Atlet Avenue. The purpose for this application is to convert the existing 1-story, 1-unit detached dwelling into a 3-story, 2-unit detached dwelling by constructing a front parcel 1st-story addition, a rear and a side 1st-story addition, new 2nd and 3rd-story additions, a new front porch and a new front integral garage, a front 2nd-story balcony and a rear ground floor deck with stairs, a rear basement walkout, and a rear second-story balcony, and a rear third-story balcony. They are seeking 9 variances. And on this item, we also receive a copy of survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 3 photographs of the trees on the property, and supporting material from the agent. Staff report from Urban Forestry, and also opposition from 47 Atlet Avenue. Yes.
Sorry. Yep. Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent online. We also do have someone registered to speak in opposition that's on the line.
Okay, thank you. So we have the agent, please.
Hello, good morning. My name is Nushin Mozaffari from Hyphen Studio, representing my client, owner of 473 Atlas.
Yes. Go ahead, because you do have a opposition. We would like you to give us a very brief presentation, maximum 5 minutes, please. Starting now.
Yes, if the staff can kindly, thank you. What we are basically doing is doing an addition renovation on the existing house, and as you see, this is a small narrow lot, and what we have done is to keep the line of the exterior wall on the north side, and consequently all the setback variance for the rear deck, balconies on the second and third floor, and also the side setback variance for the dwelling is generated. And on the other side that we are doing the addition, we are proposing 3-foot setback instead of 4, and that 3-foot setback is for the middle portion of the house. At the front, it's basically existing to remain, and we have tried to step back at the rear. And on the upper floors, we have tried to push the building more toward the south and have more distance on the north side. For the variances, we are asking for 0.5 meter on the height and wall height. As we mentioned, the setback on both sides is a variance. On the south side, we are asking for side setback for the added portion. On the north side, it's basically the existing house that we are continuing the wall at the rear, and the rest are basically a few centimeters here and there encroachment into the front and rear setbacks for the deck, porch, and the architectural feature at the front. I would be happy to answer any questions. I have tried to show this site plan with different colors to clarify the requested variances.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. You finished? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Because you do have one opposition, I think that I would suggest the panel hold the question to you after we hear the opposition. Can we bring on
Through you, Madam Chair, we will unmute Ryan Brooks.
Brooks, I'm at 471 Atlas, the property to the south of the subject property.
Mm-hmm.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to read.
You have 5 minutes, thank you. Yeah.
I'm just going to read my submission.
Okay.
So we wanted to share our comments regarding the above noted property. There are many zoning variances being sought out by the applicant, which will allow the building encroachment onto required setbacks from adjoining properties. However, we are most concerned with number 9, Chapter 10.80.40.70, 3A, bylaw 569-2013. The minimum required side yard setback is 1.2 meters. The altered dwelling will be located 0.27 meters from the side, north lot, and 0.91 meters from the side, south lot. Please note, as the neighbors on the south line, there is a very small right-of-way registered on survey as described in instrument number TB866133. This allows us to service the north side of our house, which is built right on the lot line. Considering the long list of height length variances also being considered that would greatly increase the overall footprint of the new building, we would ask that the variance to the 1.2 south side back not be granted, as it would impede our privacy. Please note, our sole window would be arm's length from the proposed windows of the new construction. This would obstruct light on that side of the house, and it will also likely impede our ability to bring in machinery tools required to service our foundation or exterior wall in the future. We do not feel that this variance is minor, as it is 25% wider than the required setback and 55% more than the current distance. Further, our overall confidence in the project was a little bit compromised because, as in the picture, you can see that the signage posted was not posted according to the requirements. However, I would note that this has since been rectified. Thank you for hearing my concerns.
Any question to this speaker first? Okay, yeah, so let's bring back the agent for rebuttal. We do have one question. Can you wait, please? Yeah.
So you mentioned the servicing that you do to your yard. Can you sort of explain what you actually use that easement for on a regular basis?
Sure. So that is the side of the building that's serviced by hydroelectricity, as well as the telecommunications.
Yes, we're doing foundation work.
And also, you know, there's a potential need to do foundation work, in particular for waterproofing.
Okay, and is that something you plan on doing in the next year or two?
Likely, yes.
Okay.
That wall is leaking.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Any more questions to this speaker? Okay, we don't have any more questions to you. So can we bring back the agent for rebuttal, or also, yeah, we have questions for the agent too?
The agent has been unmuted.
Yes, thank you for sharing and hearing the concerns of the south neighbor. Actually, there is no right-of-way on this property. Nothing is registered as an easement or right-of-way. As you see on this site plan, the pattern of the neighborhood is somehow that all the houses are somehow located on the property line on the north side, and there is a driveway or detached garage or attached garage on the side of each house. And what we are basically doing is to add a portion on the south side and removing that existing wide setback and driveway. And there is no right-of-way there for any maintenance or access. And still, we are proposing 3-foot setback, which is good enough to have access not only for the neighbor, but also to have access to our own rear yard, because as you see, the house is on the property line on the other side, so there is no access on that side. So my client himself should have access to the rear yard from this side, and that's why we are keeping 3-foot setback, which I believe is a generous one for this size of the lot. And as you see, we don't have any variance for the lot coverage or GFA, and the proposal is in compliance with the length and on the north side, we are basically keeping the existing situation that generates most of the variances, and we are doing addition at the rear and on the side south wall. I believe considering the angle of the property and the angle between the property and the existing house and the a small size of the lot, the proposal is very reasonable and justifiable. We are not pushing the house forward. The variances for the front setback and encroachment of the porch are basically the existing distance of the house to the property line, and we have tried to fit the best possible design in this limited situation.
Okay, thank you. You finished with your rebuttal?
Yes.
Okay, I want to check whether there are questions for you. Yes, Mr. Wee has a question for you. Go ahead.
Yeah, the neighbor has cited a very specific instrument that gives him the right-of-way, saying it's registered on survey. I was wondering if you had investigated that.
We have submitted the survey that is prepared with a certified surveyor, and there is no indication of any right-of-way on the survey.
Actually, the survey does mention it. If you look in the bottom right corner, Part 2, registered easements right-of-way, subject to and together with the right-of-way as described in instrument number TB 8666133.
Through you, Madam Chair,
Yes.
we're presenting it on the screen now.
Oh, good, yes. Yeah, they have a separate.
And then on the sort of main part of the survey, it does mention sort of over the neighbor's house, it says the same thing together with right-of-way as described in instrument, and then it lists the same number.
All I can see is that asphalt driveway, which is for the property.
Through you, Madam Chair, the
Yeah.
presenter is circling the area where it's
Okay.
cited on the site plan,
Okay.
or survey plan, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, but that as the dimension is mentioned there, it's only 20 centimeter. So what we are proposing, the setback that we are proposing is 90 centimeter. It's like 5 times of that required distance.
That seems to be what it is showing based on the dashed line, but where is it that you see the 3 centimeters, just to help us out?
Just right below that text that says together with right-of-way as described in instance, it says 20 centimeter by 21 meter point 34. So
I see, 20 centimeters,
it describes the dimensions of that right-of-way, the width and the length of that right-of-way, which is basically a narrow portion just at the property line.
Okay, another question for you, please.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if you can let the committee know why you feel it's necessary to have that one section that juts out and requires the side yard variance on the south side. as opposed to simply designing it would already be a much larger building without that variance.
Sorry, you're asking me?
Yes, he's asking you why you need that little bit, 1 foot extending beyond the required side yard setback on the south. Yeah.
Yeah, if you look at all the floor plans in different levels, we are accommodating some space just in that extension that goes beyond the existing wall. For example, on the second floor, there is a laundry and there is a washroom there, and since the house is very narrow and the space is very limited, every inch and foot is very valuable to accommodate the minimum acceptable sizes for the rooms. That's why we are trying to keep the access and have the minimum required space to have access to the rear yard and still use as much as a space that we can inside the house. And we have tried so hard to do this very wisely. For example, on the main floor, we don't need that at the rear portion, so there is a smaller bump out. On the second floor, we have used more of that space to be able to push the building toward the south and have more distance on the north side, which is the narrowest setback.
So are you saying that you're reducing that side addition by foot, it will impact your planning, your plan a lot? Is that what you said?
I'm saying that we have tried to use the space according to the interior layout to be able to just accommodate the minimum size for each space. For example, a washroom, a laundry, and all those things. There should be a minimum width for each space to function.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, no more questions. So we do not have any more questions to you. I'm ready to move this into committee discussion. Do you have any last point you want to address?
I just want to mention again that all the coverage and GFA and length are in compliance with the bylaw. The rear setback is just few centimeter more encroachment. At the front, we are keeping the existing walls on all three sides, and we have tried to have the best outcome from the existing situation and this limited space. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, so now we are in committee. Okay. Yes, Mr. Gross.
So I think our questioning, our inquiries before coming into committee sort of zeroed in on the right issue. If you look at all of the variances except the south side yard setback, they're all numerically quite small, and similar sort of renovations, we often see length variances, and this is an area where this type of home going on to a lot that had a bungalow is common. I actually think it's supportable, even the south side variance, because it still is leaving 6.9 meters, which is more than 3 times the actual easement that's there. It's around 3 feet. It should be enough to accommodate whatever work they need to do on the south side. And I do see the merit in making the floor plans more usable space. So I think it's supportable despite that. But
Okay, thank you. But also, the house on the south side also is set back by at least 8 inches. So it will be, the whole distance will be like 3 foot, 8.
that's true, yeah, about a meter as a whole, which actually in the city of Toronto is pretty far from your neighbor.
Yeah. Okay, please, yeah, go ahead, Mr. Wee. Yeah.
I mean, overall, I think it's a perfectly good proposal. I do have concerns about that south side yard setback, but I hadn't noticed the extra 8 centimeters on the neighbor's side. So, which gives it basically a meter, which is, you know, as people have noted, pretty common. So, I'm a little skeptical, but I feel like I have been convinced that it's not unreasonable. I mean, generally, I feel like new builds should be able to accommodate a side yard setback, and especially because the neighbor is so close that you know the space is required. But I think that the discussion has made me grudgingly accept the proposed variance there.
Yes, well, my observation is that actually those rooms, as you said, that they, of course, they like to get a little bit more, but even if we reduce, maybe not by a foot, but by another, just to please the neighbor, those rooms are still very generous, actually. They are, the bedroom is almost like 16 feet on the second floor. That's 12 plus 2, almost 2, 14 feet of the bedroom on the second floor. And then I think that if they could, but on the other hand, you're right about maybe the neighborhood, given the 8 inches on the south side to the property, so add together is 1 point, no, it's 1.1. It's more than a meter. So maybe it's not too bad. So any other comments, please? Yeah.
Thanks, Chair. I agree with my colleagues and you. I think this is reasonable, and actually was surprised at how small the variances were, looking at the size of the house. I think it's been designed with an eye to minimize the variances. And in regard to this, the south side yard setback, I think the fact that it is concentrated in the middle and doesn't go the whole way to the front and the back makes a big difference in terms of impact on the neighbors. So I think if we approve this, I think maybe tying it to site plan would be a smart way to ensure that condition remains.
Okay, yeah. So any more comments or motion, please, yeah?
Sure.
Mr. Goss, yeah.
I'm happy to move that we approve it together with the condition that my colleague, Mr. Reed, has proposed, that it be tied to the site plan.
Okay.
And to,
okay, so
is it forestry condition number 1?
that's forestry condition 1. Yeah. And second, please. Anyone? Yeah, Mr. Reed, second. All in favor? With the condition, forestry, yeah. Approve with the condition. Thank you very much, yeah.
Through you, Madam Chair, we can probably deal with item number 6 and 7 together.
Yes, it seems that is like the semi, right? Yeah. Okay, let's deal with 6 and 7 together. 18 and no, 18 and 20 Austin Terrace. Please have the. Sorry. Let me finish. The purpose for this application is to alter the existing 2-story semi-detached dwelling containing 2 dwelling units by constructing a complete story addition and a front third floor dormer. Reconstructing the existing rear attached carport with new terrace above, and for 2 car spaces, and a rear third floor balcony with stairs. The dwelling will have a total of 4 residential dwellings, which is a 4-plex. And that's, the period decision approved to consent to survey the property into 2 residential lots and to maintain the existing semi-detached dwelling with 2 dwelling units. This proposal to convert the existing 2-story semi-detached dwelling into a 4-plex. And they are seeking for 6 variances. And on this item, to both items, I think similar that we have received copy of survey, site plan, floor plan, elevations, and revised site plan, floor plans and elevation, and 6 photographs of the tree, cover letter from the planning consultant, and email from the agent, decision affecting the subject property. And we have comments received from transportation engineering and staff report from urban forestry, and also advisory staff report from the tree protection and urban forestry. And support, we have 1 letter of support by the occupant of 22 and 22A Austin Terrace. And the opposition, we have opposition from 16 Austin Terrace. So we are waiting for
Madam
the
Chair. We do have Sean Galbraith online that will be speaking for these applications. We also have the owner of 16 Austin Terrace who will be speaking in opposition.
Oh,
so
okay.
we'll unmute Sean Galbraith at this time.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes, you do have 1 opposition, so you can give us a very brief presentation, 5 minutes for, maybe you can also, you have a little bit more time if you do both of them together, please.
Thank you. Both of them are basically identical, so I don't think I should need additional time. If you could please put up I think it was my covering letter E2. I think that's it. Yes, so the page, scroll down, that's the front of it. Keep going to the one that has the renderings at the bottom of the page. I think that there we go. Thank you very much, committee. My name is Sean Galbraith. I'm a planner here on behalf of the application.
Can you give us
sorry,
your
go ahead.
address too, please? Yeah.
Sure. 18 King Street, East Suite 1400, Toronto.
Thank you.
What is being proposed is a fairly straightforward 3rd floor top-up above the existing building, the existing semi-detached. The only change to the front of the building will be on 18 Austin Terrace, adding that little 3rd floor dormer at the front. There will no change to the front of 20 Austin Terrace. The 3rd floor, as I mentioned, is entirely above the existing footprint of the building, each half is currently a duplex, and the proposal is to modify so that each will be a 4-plex, adding much needed rental housing to the neighborhood. The only other notable change would be the addition of private amenity space above the existing rear carport at the rear. You can kind of see it at the back of that rendering there. On the right side. Right now, the properties have no existing sort of outdoor amenity space. The property has the front yard, and then the rear yard is entirely 2 car parking spaces on each side beneath an existing carport. If you could scroll up, please. You can see the existing back of the existing back condition. These are really dense properties on this little unusual block. All of the houses at the rear have garages or carports that butt right up against each other. And if you could scroll up, there's a bit of an aerial view. There we go. You can see there is no real yard of note. We are triggering 6 variances, 5 of which are existing conditions. And the only sort of new variance would be the permission to construct a deck above the existing carport, which is a fairly common condition in this block. I think that's pretty much it. Again, I don't believe that there are any unreasonable and undue impacts on adjacent properties, and I believe that they maintain the intent and purpose of the official plan and the zoning bylaw, and they maintain the 4 tests entirely. I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee has or to respond to any comments from the neighbors.
Yes, I think we will hold our question to you after we hear the opposition. Is that okay?
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine with me. I'm in your hands.
Yes.
Through you, Madam Chair, we will now unmute Ruth and Lockhart.
Oh, we have someone in person.
Do you want to?
We have someone. Can you state your name and your address, please?
So my name is Brendan Charters. I'm from McGinley Brothers Inc., who owns the property, as well as Eurodale Developments, who designed the property.
Oh,
I just wanted to clarify the letter of support is actually for 4 properties, 22 and 22A, Austin Terrace, as well as 17 and 19 Castleview.
Oh, okay.
So those owners own all 4 of those independent properties. 17 and 19 are immediately to the north of the subject property, and 22 and 22A are immediately to the west of the subject property. So they represent those 4 properties while it's one letter.
I see. Oh, I see. Understand. So yeah, when there's a group letter. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
That's all. Yeah.
That's
okay.
it.
Let's have the opposition online speaker. Yeah.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Thank you for. My name is Ruth Ann Lockhart. I am a resident at 16 Austin Terrace, which is just to the east of the 2 properties that are applying for this variance.
Okay.
We are objecting to this application because we do not feel it passes the first test. The request of this variance for a 3rd floor addition will entirely block all western light from the side of our home. We only have 1 window in the front facing south on each floor. Our additional windows are on the west because we have a demising wall on the east. This shading will eliminate all afternoon light from us. And this will really, really affect our, enjoyment and quality of our life here. We are a single family home here, unusually on this block. So I really would like the committee to reflect on the impact of this 3rd floor addition. From a conversation we've had with the owner, we understand his need for more capacity, and we support that. But there must be a way that we can kind of work with them to mitigate this impact on the quality of our life, as well on the privacy of our deck at the back. The 3rd floor will loom over top of it, so we will not have any real privacy at all. As the previous gentleman just said, the front yard faces the street, and we don't really have any private outdoor amenity. In my cover letter, I mentioned a couple of other points that I feel the committee at least should read and appreciate our concerns for. This is, traffic generation. We have a lack of confidence about the ability to accommodate cars on our shared driveway. And there also is the general intent of the city plan regarding the heritage of Austin Terrace. However, it is the privacy and the shading and the quality of our life of the 3rd floor addition that is really our chief concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question to this speaker first? No. Oh, you do. Mr. Wee has a question for you.
Just a quick one. Do you have any privacy concerns related to the proposed terrace at the back on the carport?
Well, I don't think so, because I'm hoping will mirror our deck in the sense that we'll be on the same level. Ours is quite private. So I don't think so. It's the floor above it that I'm concerned with. That they'll be able to look right in. I'm not sure about the people on Castlefield at the back, though. They may have concerns.
Oh, the question is because you have mentioned that there might be privacy issues for the deck. That's why panel member asked you that question or to clarify.
Yes, that's my back deck. Yes.
So you do not have privacy issues on the proposed back deck, right? You just think that you
about 18 and 20's deck?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. Okay. But it's the shading and my deck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Answer the question. Thank you. Okay. Any other question for this speaker? Okay. Let's go back to the agent, please. I just want to remind the agent that can you also address to the question or the issue raised by the speaker, by the previous speaker?
Sure. So if you bring up my cover letter again, please, and go to that side rendering. There we go. If you could zoom in on the proposed on the right side. So all of those existing windows, except for the 3 on the third floor, the new third floor, are existing. And if you note there's only 3 new windows for that new unit on the top floor, and one of them is set back quite far from the rear. So I don't think that it would have any privacy or overlook impacts from that unit. There's no height variance, and we're not even going to be above the existing peak roof line. It's contained sort of behind the existing peak of the house. The depth variance pertains to the existence of the carport, and so it's not the building itself that is a consideration for that variance. I don't agree that there will be significant shadow impacts on the adjacent property. There's an existing mutual driveway between the two properties that is over 3 meters wide, which exceeds the minimum bylaw requirement for a side yard setback generally. So I think that it is well within the considerations of the zoning bylaw. And again, there is no height variance. This is permitted as of right. I think the other comment was about heritage. This is not a heritage property. There are no heritage concerns, and heritage hasn't commented. And I'm glad to hear that the neighbor doesn't have any privacy concerns with the rear deck. It would make sense. They have a rear deck as well, which they received variance for previously.
And,
I think that was everything, but if there's anything else, I'm happy to answer it.
Yeah, I do have one question. Yeah, we can.
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say through you, Madam
Yes.
Chair, that the other one that the opposition had raised was overlook of third deck, not from the second story deck, but from the third story. I believe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Windows.
Oh, can you address to that? Because it's the overlook from the deck to.
No, overlook from the third story addition onto their own deck was an issue that was raised.
Thank you. So their deck has, if you scroll up, their deck has privacy screening already on their deck, and if additional privacy screening is requested by the committee, my client would be agreeable to that. Again, the main window that would have overlook into that balcony or that on 16 would be one that would face east and be located far back into the rear wall of the east face, and there is no window there.
Mm-hmm.
As I took you to on the side rendering, that the nearest window is set far back from the rear wall on that east side, and so it would not have any overlook into that space.
Mm-hmm. I have a very quick question. Since the number 16 is complaining about the, or is concerned about the third floor addition, can you tell us, from what I guess from your site plan, the distance between 16 and 18? It looked like you have 10
3
over-
point,
Yeah.
I believe it's about it's 1.52 meters on both sides of the mutual driveway.
Yes, 3 meters,
So
right?
basically 3 meters.
Yes, that's what I want to emphasize. The distance is actually quite generous there. And
Correct.
yeah. Okay, that's my only question, actually. Any question to this? Oh, you haven't addressed the, there's a previous speaker has raised the question about traffic. Can you speak to that quickly or briefly, please?
Sure. So the property is located within an MTSA, a major transportation station area. So it's well serviced by transit within 500 meters of the site at the St. Clair West subway station specifically. No parking is actually required for a fourplex or any low-rise multi-res building anymore. And the existing property can accommodate the two properties can accommodate the 4-car parking spaces that currently are on site, and anybody else simply won't be able to have a car on the property, which is kind of what the city wants these days.
Okay. And the last comment I like to make is that the urban forestry have some advisory comments. You're going to take their suggestions, right?
Absolutely. There are no trees that will be impacted by the proposal. As you can see in this photo here, there are no trees in the backyard at all. And I note that in the Forestry's letter, they don't actually recommend or request the standard forestry conditions.
And you're not opposed
but we advise,
sorry.
the owners have definitely taken it under advisement, though.
And you're not opposed to putting privacy screen around the rear deck, right?
No.
Okay. So, okay, thank you. Any other question? Mr. Goss has a question for you.
Sure.
So for both properties, if you just looking at the plans, in the basement there's a unit in the front half, and in the rear half there's a very large storage space, the same size as the unit, with a washroom roughed in. And so, you know, looking at it, it looks as though hypothetically there could be a 5th unit there eventually. In my brief time on the committee so far, I have seen situations where you know, an additional unit was added later, and I just find that not so efficient as to apply for it all at once. So I am just wondering, is that an intention to add a 5th unit down the line? And if so, why haven't you included it in this application? So I don't know if that's better to the individual that's here in person or the agent.
I think that is not roughed in. I think that's the removal of an existing feature in the basement.
Is it?
Yeah, it's removal.
Oh, well, so then I misread that.
And if in the future, if it was to be converted, it would probably trigger additional variances because it would then probably be considered an apartment building because it's 5 units. So that would trigger additional variances, and they'd be coming back for those.
So, but then yes, my colleague is right because although it's dotted, but it doesn't indicate they are going to be removed. It's only indicated by dotted lines. Yeah, that's good. So those will not have any plumbing in those areas, right?
It's my understanding.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, please? I don't think we have any more questions to you. Do you have anything, last thing you want to address to the panel, because we are ready to make a decision here? Or,
no, I think this is a great project, and I think it adds additional much-needed rental units in a way that is as minimally intrusive as possible in an area that's well-suited for it.
Okay, thank you. So
welcome.
We are now in committee. Comment or motion? Yes, Mr. Wee.
I just wanted to make a few comments, possibly in advance of a motion, but I'll let my other colleagues make comments too if they want. So first of all, I think this is a really great project. adding valuable extra rental in a really great area, which I think will be in high demand. So overall, it's great. I feel like I think it's important to emphasize to the neighbors that the height is as of right. That's not a variance that's being asked for. The owner has every right to build a third story, even without asking for a variance. I also wanted to really appreciate I think the actual change to the front is actually very tasteful and thoughtful, and really fits in with the neighborhood really well. It's really slight, and I know it's not a heritage property, but it seems to fit well with the overall character of the neighborhood. So that's great. Really, the key variance is the backyard amenity, which seems like a really good idea. It doesn't actually seem like it's necessary to put privacy screening. I'm imagining the owner might want to keep the privacy of the actual residents. But I actually, there seems to be no demand for that, so I'm not going to put that as a condition. Anyway, I'm very much in favor of this.
Okay, so yeah, I agree, but then now the issue is about the privacy screen. Anyone against or think it's a good idea, or?
I agree with my colleague. I don't think it's all that necessary. In fact, the neighbors themselves said a privacy screen on that second floor deck is not that necessary, so I would leave it to the design. And I just echo the comments of my colleague more generally that I think it's a very good proposal. We're adding some very nice large units to a great neighborhood. And my comment about the 5th unit in the basement wasn't meant to be a negative. I actually see it a bit as wasted potential that you've got the space for a unit that's not going in. And that I think it would have been better if it had come with that included. But I think the comment I heard is that might have made the variances much more complicated. Yeah. So.
But storage space is very valuable too.
That's true. That's true.
So it just depends on the owner or what they want to do with the space. Yeah. But then if they add another unit, they have to come back anyway. So yeah. It's their decision on that. So any other comment, please? Or most? Oh yeah.
One
yes.
comment. So first of all, I want to thank the Ruth for coming forward and giving her comments. Giving us a chance to explore that height issue again, and confirming that that's not a variance that's being asked for. But I also like to observe that this is a unique site because the amount of square footage on this fairly small site is considerable. So it's showing the pressures that our neighborhoods have. And I think that again, I think it's an excellent proposal, but it is showing that when we have when we're going to the requirements for triplexes, the frontage areas are tight, as well as the overall floor area, FSI and whatnot. So I think it's a worthy application, but again, I think it was good that the neighbor came forward with her concerns, and we got a chance to respond to them.
Yeah. Actually, yes, I agree. Actually, I think the building a sort of a recreation area on top of the carport, it is an improvement. Otherwise, you would just see a flat roof there and not doing much good, right?
Well,
so, yeah.
And just coming off that point, I think it might have been you that was on the same meeting with me. We saw an application just for a couple houses down where they were doing the exact same thing, adding a carport rooftop deck. It's or maybe it was a different meeting, but yeah, it's a very unique street, and this seems in keeping.
Given the context, this is an urban, very tight site and all. But then it may be another context which is different. But this, given this, because there's already existing carport there, that's what I think. Okay, any motion? Okay, Mr. Gray. Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the variances with no conditions for the reasons I stated earlier.
Okay, and also, do we actually mention the urban forestry advisory comment? No, we don't. Okay, then they will take initiative to address that. Okay, a second. Okay, Mr. Gogan, second.
And this is for both 18 and 20.
Yes, both.
Yes, for both 18 and 20.
Yes, and all in favor for both. Unanimous approved for both 18 and 20.
Thank you for your time. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. And now we move to item number 8.
Can I request a brief 5-minute break?
Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Yeah,
5
thank
minutes,
you.
thanks.
We will come back in 5 minutes. Yes. we're ready, right? Yeah. Okay, well, we resume, please. The next item is item 8, 39 Heathdale Road. This is to construct a new 3-story detached dwelling with a front integral garage, a front covered porch, a rear ground floor covered deck with stairs, and a rear second and third floor balconies, as well as a rear basement walkout. Also, a new in-ground swimming pool will be installed in the rear yard. The 2 existing 2-story detached dwelling will be demolished. They are seeking 5 variances. And on this one, we also receive a copy of survey site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 3 photographs of the trees, and supporting material from the agent. And we receive comment also from tree protection and from urban forestry. And we have, oh, I'm so sorry, I read the wrong thing. Let me repeat, sorry, I read the wrong item. We receive a survey site plan, floor plan elevations, and 5 photographs of tree, and presentation material from the agent, and comments we receive from urban forestry, and there are 2 comments from urban forestry, and we have support in Connaught Circle. And opposition we receive from 41 Heathdale Road. And we are ready for the agent.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent online as well as 2 registered speakers in opposition.
Okay.
So we will unmute the agent at this time.
Thank you.
Tai, you have been unmuted.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, committee members and Madam Chair. My name is Tay Rook. I am the planner for the owners of the property at 39 Heathdale Road.
Can you tell us your address too for the record?
18 Young Street.
Okay, thank you. You do have some oppositions. We would like you to give us a brief 5-minute presentation maximum, please.
Sure. The variance is before you today is to facilitate the construction of a 3-story dwelling on the subject site. There are variances related to the front yard setback, building length, FSI, rear soft landscaping, and the number of platforms in the rear yard. The slide that's before you on the screen is an area context map, and you'll note that there is a letter of support from 37 Heathdale, which is highlighted with the blue dot. The subject site is outlined in the red dashed line. And the properties that have been highlighted in green within the immediate block and the broader context are those properties that have FSIs greater or equal to 0.8 in terms of FSIs. So from a contextual perspective and from a neighborhood perspective, the FSIs within this area and the proposed are more than consistent with what's being proposed for the site. If you could go to the next slide, there is variances related to the front yard setback, which is variance number 1. You'll note that at the front or at the bottom of that site plan, there's a small shaded area in green. That is the extent of the front yard setback at 7.47 meters. Walls are very consistent with the adjacent dwellings on either sides at 37 and 41. And it's small 2 protrusions that's the majority of that front yard setback variance. And I would submit to you from a streetscape perspective, from a contextual perspective and an alignment perspective with the adjacent neighbors, it's more than consistent, and it's more than consistent with the streetscape as well. You'll note that the house itself, there is a red dashed line on that site plan that represents the existing dwelling. The house has been more centered, and you'll note that there's no side yard variances, side yard setback variances being requested. And this was done consciously to ensure that any impacts associated with the adjacent neighbors on either side would be mitigated by centering the house on the property. If you could go to the next slide, there is a variance related to building length. And this is somewhat of a technical variance from a variance perspective. You'll note that there's a green area at the bottom of the side elevation, which represents the basement, and it's excavated below the rear deck at grade. And as a result of that, the bylaw considers this part of building length. But you'll note the building that's above grade, or the house that's above grade, is only 14.98 meters. well below the 17-meter requirement. So this is somewhat of a technical variance, and it is something that is just captured within the bylaw through these definitions. With regard to the rear yard landscaping variance, I would submit to you that this is a very small variance numerically and qualitatively speaking as well. It would be undiscernible from a whether it's 50% or to a reduction of 47.62% in the rear yard soft landscaping. And with regards to the last variance, the 2 platforms versus 1 platform in the rear area, if you could go to the next slide, you'll note that there is a recess, the next slide after that, the rear elevations. There is a recess patio or platform on the 3rd-story roof line. That's recessed into the roof line, and as a result of the fact that the fire code requires a point of egress to be provided in the 3rd story if there's living space above there. As a result of that, that small area is just access egress. There isn't really room to provide for any chairs or any sort to provide a sitting area. It's too small of an area. And from a massing perspective, I would submit to you, because it's recessed and the fact that it's required by the fire code, from a massing and from an intrusive perspective to either neighbors on either sides or to the rear, it is something that is appropriate and required. You'll also note, and I would also point out that if there wasn't 3rd-story living space within the roof line, a dormer could be placed along that roof in the same exact location, providing for same massing and same type of architectural feature along that facade. You'll also note that there is no height variance being requested for this proposal. We comply with building height, so any concerns with massing and the way it presents or how it relates with adjacent properties on either sides or to the streetscape, this is more than consistent and something that's permitted and anticipated by the zoning bylaw. We are aware of Urban Forestry's comments. They are recommending condition number 2, in addition to some advisory comments, things that we will need to deal and discuss with them as we apply for tree permits if this application is approved. There are no comments from Planning Department. And from any other departments, and we are more than happy to deal with neighbors on either side as it relates to construction and any damage that we may create to ensure that any damage caused by us would be repaired by us at our own cost. I know there's other speakers. I will redress them after they comment, but if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Yes, we will hold a question to you after we hear the oppositions. How about that? Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, let's have the next speaker, please.
Through you, Madam Chair, we will unmute Ezra Title.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. My full name is Ezra Title. My address is 11 Connaught Circle, Toronto, Ontario, M62S9. I am one of the properties bordering 39 Heathdale on the south side. I'm here today to express my concern regarding the supposed minor variances that the owners of 39 Heathdale are requesting. Again, my home borders 39 Heathdale on the south of their property, so our backyards touch. I'm concerned with the overall size, length, and proximity to my property that will result if the owners are permitted to build the house they have proposed. First, the owners are proposing to extend the building length to 18.16 meters when the maximum permitted length is 17 meters. If they are granted this variance, there will be portions of the new house that come as close as 20 feet to my backyard with a canopy roof that is 10 feet high and extends across the entire width of the house. The lot dimensions of 39 Heathdale are irregular, as denoted by the owners in their Committee of Adjustment application. It's 98 feet on the east side. The proposal to extend the house beyond the allowable 17 meters doesn't seem to address the lot size and proximity to neighboring properties. I ask you to consider the owner's request from mine and my neighbor's standpoint. Next, the owners are requesting to increase the floor space index by more than twice the allowable index to an index equal to 0.84 times the area of the lot. If you permit this variance change, I now have a house that is not only extremely close to my yard, but also an imposing structure that is significantly larger than the acceptable floor space index as denoted in the bylaw. I believe this chapter of the bylaw was designed to prevent the building of a structure that is too large for a given lot, while also protecting the neighboring property owners like me from being impacted. And lastly, the owners are requesting a variance change to build a second platform on the rear side of their home, which is already extending 1.6 meters beyond the acceptable length if you grant their request. So not only will I have a home that is situated much closer to my property than I'm comfortable with, they also want to have a balcony, which is going to feel like it's hanging over my property and impacting my level of privacy. I think they're asking for too much. It's too much house, it's too close to my property, and I think it's one too many balconies. So it feels like an overreach on their part, and I can't imagine they couldn't build a perfectly suitable home within the established bylaws. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any question to this speaker? Okay, we don't have, so, yes, please.
Through you, Madam Chair, at this time we will unmute Danielle Shields.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. Sorry. So good morning. My name is Danny Shields, and I'm the owner of 41 Heathdale, which is directly beside 40 or 39 Heathdale on the west side. And I do have a statement from another neighbor if that's acceptable to read, and if not, that's no problem. I submitted a letter, and I can basically summarize it for you if you haven't had a chance to read it. But basically, my position is that the variances are not minor in nature, and they will significantly and materially detract from the neighborhood and also the use and enjoyment of my own property. So, the first change, so the applicant is proposing to remove almost all the trees on the property and reduce the soft landscaping requirements pursuant to bylaw 569-2013. Heathdale Road, I don't know if the committee has seen it, it's a very beautiful street. It's probably one of the most beautiful streets in Toronto. It's characterized by beautifully restored character homes, lovely and kind neighbors, most of which are older. So this neighborhood hasn't undergone a lot of rejuvenation, and the properties are very charming and rich with foliage. Heathdale Road is located on the south side of the Cedarvale Ravine, and it continues the special and unique flora and park-like beauty onto that residential street area. The applicant is proposing to fundamentally change the landscaping to the property, removing most of the existing trees and turning the property into a large piece of land that seems to me to be aberrantly large and intrusive based on the existing character of the neighborhood. So it seems to me that approving this variance could fundamentally change the look and feel of this charming street that's rich in history. As my neighbor Ezra Title mentioned, by doubling the allowance in bylaw 569-2013, which is the property is a significant amount of the privacy enjoyed by me and my neighbors and protected both through the trees and, based on the existing properties would be lost. It doesn't seem to be a minor variance. And this would have a very significant impact on my property, on the neighborhood, and I believe it would have a significant financial impact on me personally because it would devalue the value of my land. And then most significantly, my comment in number 3, just at the bottom of the screen, the applicant is proposing to more than double the coverage ratio of 0.4 times. It seems to be quite significant. It would result in a much materially larger house than currently exists. And it seems to be not in line with the visible characteristic of the neighborhood and the neighboring property. It seems to be a major variance, not a minor variance, and it would detrimentally impact my property, my neighbors' properties, and our neighborhood that is widely known for its charm and beauty. And then I just wanted to make one comment, which I completely understand and appreciate, is that that's outside of the scope of this committee. But there has been a bit of a disagreement on where the property line is. I have surveys, they have surveys, but there seems to be a bit of a discrepancy. So that's obviously going to, and the neighbors, I will say, have been very cooperative, and we're in discussions about how to deal with what we think are two different opinions on where the actual property line lies compared to where the fencing currently is. But if I am correct, and if the fencing line remains where it is, I think it would actually result in a coverage ratio that's slightly more significant than what it is, because the actual amount of the property that the house consumes would be greater if that fence line isn't moved sort of further into my property.
Thank you. You have, can I ask you a quick question? You have mentioned that the variances, they're asking for 5. Did you say that they are all major?
No, I did not say that. Just the 3 that I mentioned. And actually, I don't know. Just the 3 I mentioned. And I don't know if you would permit me to read my neighbor who did submit a letter of concern to the committee, is with his mother, who's very sick today. So he asked me to read something. I don't know if that's permitted, if you would.
You have 31 seconds left.
Okay, sure. So this is from Vince Mandarano.
I give you 1 minute. I think
okay.
You can
So he asked me to say 3 points. The first is the requested coverage is excessive given the existing zoning allows for 40% and they are requesting 84% lot coverage. The original zoning for coverage was there to presumably protect the integrity of the neighborhood green space and tree canopy. Number 2, the impact on treescape and overall green enjoyment would result from the removal of virtually all the trees. This seems like a done deal with little input from the neighbors when we in the past have been financially responsible for disposal of fallen limbs and damages caused to our property. One of the trees constantly caused damages to many of our properties because it would fall down onto our property. We have not been privy to the process and criteria for tree removal. And his third comment is the overall length of the house is not in keeping with the character of the neighborhood and is imposing to rear yard neighbors privacy, along with the addition of the second-story balcony. The proposed house is extending an additional 20 feet from the main existing structure, including the second-story balcony. The canopy roof then further extends beyond the 20-foot addition.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can you tell me the address that the letter's from? I missed that, sorry.
It was right beside Ezra Title's address. I'm just pulling it up here. It's
15 Connaught Circle?
Yeah, 15 Connaught
Circle.
Circle.
That's
yeah.
I missed that in a bit. Okay, your
Sorry.
time is up. And any question to this speaker first? Yes. Any other speaker?
3, Madam Chair. There's no other speakers, so we'll go back to the agent.
Please, yeah.
Madam Chair and committee, just to address the comments, I'll go in order. Mr. Title at 11 Connaught Circle. The building length variance, as I indicated to the committee earlier and is shown on that side elevation, is a technical variance. And because the basement is excavated below the rear deck, which is at grade, that is that's causing that variance. So that 18.16 meter length number is all below grade. It would not be visible and would not cause any massing above grade. The house itself, as shown on that side elevation, is 14.98 meters in length. So that's the portion of the house that's visible, and that would be considered above grade, and that would be shown to the rear yards and to the streets and to the side yards. You'll also note that there is no rear yard setback variance proposed or required to facilitate this proposal. You'll also note, if you go back to the site plan, that the rear wall of the proposed dwelling is pretty much in line with the adjacent dwellings on either sides of the property at 37 and 41. So my client was making a conscious effort to ensure that the rear wall does not extend beyond the rear walls of the adjacent properties, nor does the rear deck. As one of the committee members, as Mr. Title noted, that this is an irregular lot. There is an angle at the rear property line. And as a result of that, that's why we did this and created a 14.98 meter length house with a 18.18 meter length in the basement. With regards to the FSI, this is a house that is 14.98 meters in length, no side yard setback variances. It is under the house, the FSI, the length requirements of 17 meters, and no height variances. So in this particular case, the FSI is not a true representation of whether or not this is an overdevelopment of the site. In this particular case, it's just a number. And it doesn't represent that this house is too much or too large for this property. If you were to have a house that is 17 meters above grade in length, you would have an FSI number that's actually larger than 0.84. However, doing that would cause intrusiveness to the adjacent properties, which my client did not want to do. With regards to the building on the rear, Ms. Shields' concerns, the variances being not minor in nature, and I would submit to you that just going on a numerical value is not the appropriate way of just assessing these applications. You'll have to look at the qualitative aspects of the proposal. Once again, the FSI is, in this particular case, a number and not a true representation of the size of house that's being developed. With regards to the removal of trees in the rear yard, my client has submitted arborist reports and has identified which trees are dead and or deceased. In addition, Urban Forestry has provided comments indicating they have no concerns with this applications, but note that there are certain trees that we would have to apply for applications through them if this application were to be approved. And my client obviously has to go through that process to deem which trees can be removed or preserved, whichever the case may be. With regards to the fence line and the survey, yes, there has been discussions between my client and Ms. Shields about the fence line or the property line. And our surveyor has referred to our most current survey, which is an October 2023 survey, versus Ms. Shields' surveys, which was backdated to 1987. And what he has found, and what he has found in his assessment, is that the monument and the locations and the dimensions of the properties and where the property lines have been located are exactly the same. Now, this isn't a matter for committee. This is a private matter that needs to be discussed through between them and resolved between them. But irrespective of that, the concern about the FSI number being larger as a result of the property line switching, we're talking about a difference of 20 centimeters at the corner of the property. So I would submit to you, it's irrelevant. In addition to that, it's also irrelevant because of the fact that this is a 14.98 meter house length, no side yard setbacks, no building height variances, and once again, an as-of-right building envelope on this property will result in an FSI much greater than 0.84, probably in the 0.95 range. Those are my submissions. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Okay, I do have one question. I have two questions actually. The first one is that you have a front yard setback variance. Can you tell us whether it's measured from the bay window or from the terrace?
It's the bay windows, and then there's two. If you go back to my submissions, oops, pardon me. If you go back to my submissions on the site plan, a little bit up on the site plan, if you zoom in at the bottom, you see the green highlighted area at the bottom. So it's the parts from the bay window, and then there's two protrusions beside the main entrance, which is an architectural feature that serve as windows as well, which causes the front yard setback. But you'll also note that the proposed front wall of the dwelling is exactly in line with the adjacent dwellings on either side. So this is not a house that's protruding, sticking out beyond any other houses along this street.
Yes, yeah, that explains it. Also, the second question is, on this same plan, those trees with a very dark cross on it, are those trees that are going to be removed?
Correct. Those are proposed to be removed, but once again, we still have to go through the necessary permitting process with Urban Forestry. And Urban Forestry indicated they have no concerns, but they do want to discuss certain trees with us through the permitting process. And that's in their advisory comments.
So it seems that some of these trees are not on your property. Are you allowed to do something to them?
So with regards to some, like 11, so on the left side of the front, which is 37 37 Heathdale. We have their letter of support, and they're in support of this application. So we have no concerns there. But any other trees that are adjacent to other property lines, obviously we have to discuss with those neighbors and through with urban forestry. But that process has to occur after, if this application gets approved.
Yeah, I see. So you will deal with those issues. Okay, thank you. Those are my two questions. Any questions to this? Yes, we have some more questions. Mr. Goss.
One of the variances that numerically looks small, but I think looking at the site plan is not as small as it looks, is the rear landscaping. Because if you look at the site plan, the actual soft landscaping is much less than 47% if you remove the pool. It's just because of a pool that sort of artificially inflates that, and that's not going to resolve any runoff issues. I'm wondering whether you would accept or be open to a condition that the patio and walkway be made of permeable materials, which might help mitigate that issue.
Through you, Madam Chair, I do not believe my client would have an issue with that. And if that satisfies committee in terms of concerns about overflow, we'd be more than happy to do so.
Yeah. I think we would like to ask for that. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Another question.
A couple of questions. Okay. I take what you're saying about the basement and the technical variance, and it makes a lot of sense to me. But I'm wondering if you'd be willing to address the concerns of the neighbors, to have a condition tying the building to site plan, just to reassure the neighbors that in fact there won't be any additional length to the main building, and it will stay with the basement. Would that be okay?
Sure, sir. Actually, it'd probably be better if you tie it to the elevations, or side elevations. That shows it clear.
Right, tie it to the side elevations. Okay, thank you. The second one is the second floor balcony. Would you be okay with privacy screenings on the two sides of the second floor balcony?
Yes, sir. That's not an issue.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Is it where third floor?
The second floor. The third floor is recessed, so it shouldn't really be an issue.
Two sides
but the second floor one is out, and that would be where the privacy issues would be.
Sir, I would say that I'm not reneging on what I said to you, sir, but I would say to you, just for consideration, and it's totally up to committee, providing a privacy screen of, it's typically, 1.5 or 1.5 meters, it provides for a sense of actually more massing towards the side yards of the things, and some people don't like it. Now, I leave it to committee, but it's just food for thought, because sometimes it creates more massing than typically having just a actual railing along the second story patio.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Yep. And I also like to mention that the privacy issue is really coming from 11 Connaught, which is on the southwest side, rather than the two sides. So no one had mentioned any privacy issue on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Take it.
Okay. More question, please. Yeah. Okay. We don't have any more questions to you. We will. Do you have any last thing you want to say to the panel? We are ready to move into discussion. You don't have any other last comments? Okay, now we are in committee. Yeah. So, okay, Mr. Wee, yeah.
I actually find this a really thoughtful proposal. In terms of the neighbor at number 41, it actually removes a side yard variance, which is great. I often complain about new builds that intrude on side yard variances, and this one has really thoughtfully avoided that. I also think that at the rear, he's quite right that the actual building doesn't go further back. It's only the basement. And also, I feel like the tree issue is, of course, significant, but I feel like forestry will be able to address that. And if there's any trees that are important to save. Forestry will save that according to their advisory memo. So I'm in favor of this overall with the, I agree the privacy screening, the privacy issue is more at the back, so I won't add that condition, but I think with the two conditions that we have proposed, I think this is good.
I think it's free.
No, I won't do the.
Additional two, yeah.
I won't do the privacy screening. I take your point, and I take the.
There is tied to the side elevations.
So just tied to the side elevations and the permeable
paper
pavers. Yeah, exactly. So.
Through you, Madam Chair, there is an urban forestry number 2 condition.
Yeah.
And of course, urban forestry number 2.
That's what is addition. I thought it's addition. Yeah, Mr. Goss, you have comment. Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to make a very quick comment. I think the neighbor, more the one that wrote the letter that was read in by the other neighbor than the actual participant, but I think both of them might have misunderstood the FSI variance because they kept referring to it as coverage, and lot coverage is a different thing than FSI. It's something that, unless you're specialized in this field, is very difficult to wrap your mind around. But the FSI is the square footage on every floor as compared to the lot, rather than, and of course you know this very well, but I just thought the comment was worth making, that part of, as the committee looks at this and we see that we don't have such a concern with the FSI, it's because this isn't a case of 0.84% of the lot is going to be taken up by this building, which I think might have been part of the concern of the neighbors.
So are you guys happy that we mentioned the permeable pavers for the rear yard walkway and the patio, but there actually is some in the front, some kind of pavers too? Are you happy just to stick to just for the front, for the rear?
Because they're not seeking a variance for the front,
and it's not very big area, right? So
I didn't see to meddle in that. But
yes, they have a lot. There's a lot of grass area in the front too. Yeah. Okay, that's good. More comments of motion. Yes,
I'll make a motion then. Yeah, so I'll make a motion to approve the variances with forestry condition 2, with a condition that the rear patio and walkway be made with permeable pavers, and with a condition that the building be tied to the, what's the phrase? The side
elevations.
The side elevations.
Yes.
In the plans.
East and west, yeah. East and west.
But I'll second that, but I might say for the permeability, we should probably make reference to the site plan, the patio and walkway area.
And site plan. Okay.
As indicated in the site plan.
Right.
Yes, okay. Yeah, you second.
I'll second.
All in favor with those conditions? All in favor, approve with the 3 conditions? Oh, yeah, tied to the site plan and the 2 elevations.
Yeah, tied to the site plan, the elevation, and the forestry. That's what brings us to 3.
Yes, yeah. Okay, thank you. Got that?
Yes, with the permeability.
Yeah, permeable
rear.
pavers, the rear patio and walkway. Yeah. Okay, now we move to item number 9, which is 10-32 WILLARD Avenue. The purpose for this application is to order the development standard as approved with the site plan specific bylaw, and also including increasing the overall tower height with 28 stories to 34 stories, modify the building envelope, reducing the depth and mass of the podium, and reducing the number of bicycle spaces. And they are seeking 5 variances with a lot of sub-variances. And for this item, we also receive a lot of things. Copy of the survey, 2 photographs of the tree, covering letter from the agent, and decision affecting the property, arborist report, and landscapes consultant letter, planning rationale letter by planner, shadow studies, site surfacing memo, transportation consultant letter, and also tree preservation, windy study, and revised diagram 3, And also site-specific bylaw is also attached. The presentation material also from the agent. And we received comments from transportation engineering and staff report from community planning, and there's an opposition from Mark Hamilton at St. Clair Avenue. And we are ready for the agent, please.
We try to be thorough, Madam Chair.
You have 5 minutes, because you do have opposition.
And just to introduce myself, my name is Mike Dror. I'm a partner and planner at Bousfields.
Yes.
And my address is 3 Church Street, Suite 200. And with me here is Christina Glass, representing the owner. Address
369 Rimrock Road.
Thank you.
Okay.
So I'll start, and then I'm going to turn over to Christina. We'll move into 5-minute window.
Mm-hmm.
And just ask, is that the presentation in the very late folder? Because there was one submitted yesterday. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. It's not very different, but there's one additional slide.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll try to be brief. If you can just go to the next slide. And just to start, there is a detailed cover letter or planning rationale letter prepared by Bousfields, which details the 4 tests. I'm going to focus on the context and just the variances here. In terms of the context, the site is located in Bathurst and St. Clair area, within a short walk distance of the St. Clair West subway station, and within a short walking distance of various surface transit routes, including frequent transit along St. Clair and along Bathurst Street. Next slide. And perhaps one more forward, actually, just to keep going. From a policy perspective, the site is designated apartment neighborhoods in the official plan, where infill intensification is anticipated, and is within the draft delineated boundaries of the St. Clair West Station, major transit station area in SASP 717, where justification is encouraged and targeted by both provincial and municipal policy to optimize the use of land around particularly higher order transit. Next slide. There's also the St. Clair Avenue West and Bathurst Street area planning framework, a bit of a mouthful, which is a non-statutory document adopted by Council in 2019 for the purpose of reviewing applications. A couple of things to highlight there. Number one, on the left, map 1, underneath the site or just south of the site is a identified laneway improvement. And on map 3, the site is within the RAGLAN transition zone character area. And some of the direction in the RAGLAN transition zone character area are to, for heights, the building heights to step up toward the south, and then to step up toward the east, toward the station district, which is character area D, the red, and then to the triangle district, which is the F. There's also a direction for a mix of building types, including apartment buildings, in a landscape open space. Next slide. I won't go through this in detail, but just to highlight a couple things. All of the sort of public benefits and public improvements that were included in the original approval are unchanged. The one thing which is changed slightly is that the setback from Raglan Avenue, which is on the bottom of the page, to the east, is increased from a minimum of 2.7 to 4.2. That is to even be more in line with the Raglan transition zone provisions or policy direction, for landscape open space and buildings in that landscape setting. There's still townhouses fronting Raglan to activate the street, live-work townhouses along the lane to activate the lane, laneway widening, and most importantly, a community space within the building, which will be dedicated to the city, an outdoor space associated with that, and a public park to the north, which will align with the approved park on 40 Raglan to the north. Next slide. And I'm running out of time, so I'm going to skip forward to the next slide. There are 5 variances, but only 3 topics, because 2 of the variances are essentially duplicate of each other in 2 different bylaws. From a height perspective, the increase is from 28 to 34 stories, and that is essentially a redeployment of densities. There's no density variance associated with that increase. Essentially, what this proposal would do is redeploy some of the density from the lower and upper podiums, providing additional breathing room and separation from surrounding properties, and redeploy that in the tower for a more simplified and more efficient building. Mm-hmm. And next slide. That revised revised height of 34 stories is in line with the evolving height context in the area, which includes heights of 26, 28, 29 stories to the north. That's kind of stepping up from there. Mm-hmm. And then stepping up to the 35-story proposal, which is the only proposal still, but is to the immediate south at the corner of Raglan and St. Clair, and to the approved buildings at the northeast corner of St. Clair and Bathurst of up to 41 stories. Mm-hmm. Next slide. In terms of setbacks, as you can see, the black dotted outline is the as of right envelope, and the blue is the proposal. The proposal is to shift a lot of that density from the lower elements and shift them up to the tower. And if you go to the next slide, you can see the proposed setback changes along Raglan at the rear. And then finally, if you can go to the next slide, there's a technical variance related to bicycle parking. At the time the application was made, the requirement was 0.1 short-term bicycle parking spaces per unit. Later on, the citywide changed that to 0.2. So it wasn't captured in the original bylaw, but we're asking to essentially align with the original bylaw, and staff are in support of that change. And Christine, I'm going to turn over to you with 7 seconds left.
Yeah, just very quickly, I would note that we have had extensive discussions with city planning regarding the revised proposal, which was very sensitively designed. It's a more refined, elegant tower. There is a planning staff report on file and 3 conditions, and I'm happy to answer any questions about those. But the conditions include a wind study, 10.5% secured for 2-bedroom units, an additional 15% secured with a minimum size, which are functional 2-bedroom units. Those requirements were not included in the original site-specific bylaw. And noticing time's up. If there are any questions about that, again, happy to answer that in more detail.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we will hold our questions. We would like to listen to hear the opposition. There's no one registered? Oh, okay. Do you know what the opposition's issues are? Can you briefly address to the...
Yes, yes, I can speak to that. So we did receive the 1 letter of opposition from a neighbor at 500 St. Clair Avenue West. He did note that he participated in an advisory group. So there was some additional consultation that occurred in 2020 and 2021 during the kind of early stages of the pandemic and all virtual that Madison was engaged with city planning as well. They spoke to some elements of the building. There was no kind of agreements or settlement occurring as part of those advisory groups. This file was appealed and settled to the OLT due to no non-decision, and the bylaws were enacted in 2022. Regarding the concerns that were noted in the letter, so there is a wind condition, which rather a condition regarding the wind study. So that will be satisfied per planning's request as part of an SPA resubmission. And then I think as Mike outlined in the presentation there and in the supplementary materials, we believe that the height that is proposed at 34 stories is appropriate, speaks to the existing context and the recent changes with some of the adjacent buildings up to 41 stories, I believe, in the area. If there are any further questions, happy to respond to those.
Actually, I do have one question. You did mention there's one building nearby is 41 story, but can you give us an idea of the other, like overall, there buildings that in between the 38 and 41?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So in terms of, if you stay on that page there. So since the approval, there have been a couple of other recent approvals, and you can see north along Raglan, which is where the Raglan transition zone is located, where there is a kind of a direction for up to high-rise buildings. We have approvals in the 26, 28, and 29 stories. And maybe it's not, I didn't explain it because I don't have too much time, but the 2 dots that are shown there, or 2 asterisks, sorry, mean approved. So the 26, 28, and 29 are all approved buildings. I believe maybe some of them are begun construction, I'm not too sure. And then further west along Vaughan Road, there's a couple of recently approved 12 to 15 story buildings and an existing 12-story building to the immediate west or northwest. And then you can see at the northwest quarter of St. Clair and Bathurst was buildings in a 23 to 28-story building, 23 to 28-story range. That 28-story building is recently approved. And at the northeast corner, which is where the height peaks sort of is intended for this area based on the framework, which is a council adopted document, there's heights up to 41 stories recently approved by this committee as well.
Yeah. The second question I have is, you have mentioned that the GFA, or whatever you call it, GFA, it has not changed. But you just pull and then change the envelope of the building and to 34 story. Why do you do that if you do not gain more area? What is the reason?
I mean, I'm happy to start. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Just from a planning perspective, the benefits are that the building is a more kind of simplified and more efficient building. And then in terms of impacts, it's actually, there is some reduction in impact from a shadow perspective. The additional height will have impacts kind of at the taller end, but because it's at the tower, it will quickly move over the landscape. There's a little bit of impact on neighborhoods, very minimal, only in the morning. But the benefits are that on the park to the immediate north, which is proposed or approved on the site and will be combined with the park that RAGLAN is providing, the shadow impacts will actually be improved. And then, Christina, from your end.
Yes, so we also looked at the redesign of the tower from a market perspective and a sustainability perspective. The original design, which we've kept the intent of, completed by Super Cool Architects, had some shifting of the form, and that lent itself to having structural transfers and increased carbon impact. So by simplifying and keeping a consistent tower floor plate now from effectively from levels 3 to the top, with some kind of undulations on the lower levels, that has significantly reduced our concrete demands, our structural demands, and carbon impact.
So is the number of units changed, or types of units got changed, or smaller, or what?
So there is an increase from the last SPA resubmission regarding the unit counts. We're now at 509 units. In terms of the units, the unit mix and the provisions, we are maintaining our 10% 3-bedroom, which was required in the site specific. So that is aligned. And then we've added additional securing of multi-unit bedrooms that were not included. So we've added 10.5% per planning's condition for 2-bedroom units. And then we've further added condition number 3, 15% that will have a minimum size requirement that will be functionally 2-bedroom units.
Okay.
So effectively 35.5% now of the total units are secured as multi-bedroom units.
Okay, instead of the 1-bedroom, is this a 2 and up? Yeah.
Yes, previously we only had 10% secured as 3 bedrooms, and we did have a unit mix, but
more 2 bedrooms.
That included that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, question, please.
Yeah, so to tease out your answer about why it's been increased in height and the volume changed, so there are the environmental benefits, but it's also reducing the construction time and the construction cost to remove those transfer slabs as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the improvements will allow us to, the refinements to the tower will allow us to deliver this product sooner by reducing the construction time, having more simplified, streamlined construction, reducing the carbon impacts as noted without the structural transfers, and then that kind of consistency in the tower for our trades as they're outfitting those units.
Okay, great. And I think it was implied from your presentation, but I just would like to actually ask the question that you're fine with the planning conditions.
Yes, absolutely. We've had a number of discussions with planning regarding the conditions, so we are satisfied with those conditions and agreement with those, and we will address the wind study through SPA resubmission, and we have secured those unit requirements.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay, sorry, yes, another question.
So just to clarify the bicycle thing, so my understanding is that when the bylaw was first passed, there was one requirement that's since changed, and what you're simply trying to do is ensure that you maintain the same requirements as you originally had. Is that correct?
Yeah, so when the bylaw was passed, the requirement was 0.1 short-term spaces per unit, but since the city passed a citywide amendment to bike parking to change it to 0.2.
Right.
So we're essentially just aligning it with what was in line at the time of the application.
Right.
Typically, what we would have done is actually secured that rate in the site-specific bylaw. Through the chair, sorry. But we didn't do that in this case. It was just kind of sort of missed. It wasn't included.
Yeah.
So we're trying to align it back with the...
And do you actually have more units now than you did originally?
There are more units, but we've actually increased the amount of bike parking overall.
So effectively the number of even short-term bike parking has increased from the original plans?
Through the chair, that's correct.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
And also, one last question from me is so you have not mentioned here parking reduction, nothing is maintained the same, car park.
Yes, so there was a variance that was secured last summer to update the parking standards to align with the City of Toronto's new parking bylaw. So there are now no minimums that apply. So we've maintained, and the benefit of this redesign allowed us to have a more simplified structure and maintain everything that's happening in kind of the podium levels and below grade. So there's no changes to the parking.
So no change, yeah. But if there's a reduction, it's not a variance? From the proposed, it's still
no. So the parking rate that's been adopted as part of the minor variance secured in the summer is the no minimum rate, the city's new rate. And there is also a letter that was provided from our transportation consultants on file, reconfirming that it's an appropriate rate for the building with the increased units.
Okay.
And maybe to add, transportation services did not have any concerns with the parking as well.
That's right. I read them. So any more questions? So we have finished our question. Now we are ready. We move into discussion. So you have anything else you want to say? Very quick.
No, thank you for your consideration and the questions.
So let's discuss this. Yeah. Okay. Please.
Yeah, I think the proposal is a win-win-win. I think there's nothing wrong with it being less expensive to build, so that's a win for them. But I think it's a good point about bringing the units to market a little faster as well, and reducing the carbon emissions from less concrete. I think from the shadow study, a taller, slimmer building probably does cast less of a shadow impact, and I think it's a more elegant looking building as a whole. So for those reasons, I'm supportive. I think the planning conditions are sensible so that we don't see it slip even further into more one-bedroom units. So I think that's sensible. And another thing that some of you who've been on the panel with me before might have heard me asking about the elevator ratio, and I didn't this time because it's actually pretty good on this building. It's about one elevator to 100 units. So I think the impact for the residents is fine as well.
Yes. Okay, please, yeah, comment.
Yeah, so in the past, I've often been concerned about significant height increases coming to this committee. But I feel like in this case, that's not really an issue because the GFA is not changing. It's simply a realignment of the floor space. And overall, I think it's a good realignment. I particularly appreciate that there's going to be more space on Raglan Avenue at the ground level. I think that's really important for these buildings to have provide a good space, public space, or public accessible space at the ground level. So really, I don't have an issue with this one.
Okay, thank you. Any comment? Yes, I would like to add, usually, yeah, we have passed with similar proposal, adding 3 or 5, 6 stories, and often I'm very careful with that. In those cases, they actually increase the GFA, they increase a lot of things. In this case, it's actually quite interesting in a way that they increase the height, but without actually making the building larger, but it's only skinnier. And also, I'm convinced by the presentation that in the area, I'm thinking about the greater area, they are 41 story to 24 up to 40. So maybe it is a good height for the area. So motion, please. It seems, any more?
No, I just love this part of town. There used to be a great ice cream store called Dutch Dreams right on the corner of the. But it's also
still there.
But no, I think it's big. Anyway, but the transit, the streetcar, the TTC nearby, and the fact that it's a neighborhood that is really needs. It's the follow-up to all the transit investment that the city has made. It's a nice addition to that neighborhood as well. So I think it's a great proposal.
Do we have a motion? I like to go through. It seems that there will be like a positive vote, but go through the conditions. It's only just
it moved 2 blocks.
Okay, there's no other
It's
conditions.
still right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure. Yeah, I'll move
Yes.
to approve it,
Yes.
subject to the planning conditions.
Okay. Second, please. Yeah, Mr. Gogan. Yeah. All in favor with the planning conditions. Yeah.
With planning conditions.
Unanimously approved with conditions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Goodbye. Okay, item 10 is been deferred And we are moving to item 11. Item 11 is 23 Mro Avenue. The purpose for this application is to alter the two existing story detached dwelling by constructing a third-story addition with a rear three-story covered patio. They're seeking only one variance. And on this item, we also receive it's number 11. Okay. We receive a survey site plans, site plan, floor plans, elevations, and supporting presentation material from the agent. And we receive comment from staff from city planning and a revised comment from them. And advisory staff report from urban forestry and also the and Metro Links. We are ready for the, do we have other than?
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the agent online and no registered speakers for this item. Okay. So at this time, we will unmute the agent.
Hi, Madam Chair. This
Hello,
is Miriam. Yes, hi. Do you hear me?
Miriam, can you hear us? You've been unmuted.
Yes, I can hear you. Do you hear me? Hello? 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 Do you hear me? Hello? Hello? Do you hear me?
Miriam,
Hello?
you are speaking. We cannot hear you.
I am speaking. Can you hear me? Hello?
So we hold this down?
I'm really hoping that you would hear me. Hello? Hello?
Let's just give it. No?
Hello? Hello?
Here, yeah. Okay, let's
Oh my
hold this
gosh.
item down.
And I think 12, 13, and 14 all got deferral.
Yep.
Deferral. And let's go to item 15 and
Okay.
we hold down 11 and we go back to it. And 15 is 889 Carlo Avenue. This is to alter the existing two-story detached dwelling by constructing a complete first-story addition with a rear balcony and also have a front yard parking pad. They're seeking 5 variances. And on this item, we also receive survey site plan, floor plans, elevation, revised site plan, and revised zoning notice, and 2 photographs of the subject property and cover letter from the owners, and email from an architect, Carlo architect. We also receive comment from community planning and advisory staff report from Metro Links. And support we receive from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 addresses on Carlo and 1 address from Gulf Avenue. We are ready for the agent.
Through you, Madam Chair. So we do have the owner of the property online, and so we will unmute them at this time.
Yes.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Can you hear me?
Anouk?
Yes, can you hear me?
Anouk, you have been unmuted.
Okay, to the owner, can you try again?
Yes.
Hi.
Hello? Hello,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Anouk Carsignol. I'm the co-owner of the house at 889 Carlo Avenue. And I live there with my family, my husband and my 3 kids. We are requesting minor variances to build a 3rd floor for 2 main reasons. The first one is that we have 3 kids and we would like to give them 1 room each, which is not the case right now. We also work mostly from home since the pandemic, and we would like to build an office space, which we don't have as yet. We are very attached to our house and we love our neighborhood. We have great connections with our neighbors, and in fact, they are supportive of our projects. And that's why we are requesting the committee to consider our variances. And we thank you in advance for that. We will be happy to answer any question regarding this project.
Any question to this? There are no other speakers. Yeah, we have a question. Just wait. Yeah.
Are you aware of the transportation report that says that your front yard parking pad is not a legal one and should be removed?
Yes, so we are aware of that situation, and I don't think we've heard that it should be removed as such. We have space enough to park our car behind the property line, which I think is not an issue for the city.
That's not actually what the report says. What the report from transportation is asking the committee to do is, if we do approve your application, to impose a condition that you return the curb cut. So that means to, make the sidewalk even at the curb, which would make it more difficult to park there. So that's what they're asking us to do.
I see. Okay.
They're asking us basically to entirely remove your.
Okay, so I didn't see that before this morning. I'm just discovering it right now. So I guess that will take us a bit of time maybe to discuss it with my husband and with our architects.
No, we are asking whether we should delete. You like to delete that variance, or you like to have a refusal for variance 2, number 2, which is the parking. We can refuse.
So regarding the parking, is it possible to ask for an exemption for this clause?
We do not know. That we cannot answer that question.
Through you, Madam Chair, we do have the architect here in person. Perhaps,
yes.
Do you want to speak? Okay.
Sorry, can you state your name and address?
My name's Jeff Kendall.
Yes.
I'm the architect, and at this point, I'm helping as the agent.
Okay.
My address is 347 Mro Avenue.
Okay. You asking when the report from transportation been received?
Yeah, we haven't
received it. February 7th. February 7th. So it's like a week ago.
It hasn't been sent to any of us.
No, I did not receive it either.
Yeah. Through you, Madam
Yes.
Chair.
Yes.
All of reports and materials are posted on the Application Information Center. So it's up to the owner to review that website to ensure that they receive everything.
I see. I apologize. This one skipped my attention. I did not see it.
So perhaps you may want to consider a deferral because if you're removing the front yard parking pad, you want to ensure that there's no additional variances required.
Do you think that's a better option for you?
My understanding is these people have owned the house since 2004 and bought it as is. The previous owners had been parking there. So is there any way the meat and potatoes of this is about a 3rd-story addition, so they don't have to move. They've lived there 20 years. Can we take the...
Our position is this. The variances in front of us. One is concerning the front yard parking. So we have received a transportation comment to ask us to refuse. So we actually think the better option is to go and talk to them and come back. A deferral will probably work better for you.
as of,
You haven't read their recommendation
no,
yet.
no. But still, the crux of this issue is, it sounds like,
No, the question is,
May
yes.
I?
Yes.
Yeah, so, we see that, I understand exactly where you're coming from and your frustration and that of, your client. Unfortunately, we've seen this many times before. What it is, once we have these variances, we have to consider all of the variances and all of the reports that come with them. And when the zoning examiner looks at your plans, they're not just looking at what you think are the main, the most important parts of your plans, but they're also looking at whether there's anything else that's non-conforming on the property. And so it's often that those non-conforming things get identified and brought up to us. So we're not actually in a situation where we can approve the
Other
variances for the, like we can approve some and not others. But I won't speak for all of my colleagues, but we typically, even if we were to approve only those third-story variances, we would still impose the transportation condition because they've made it clear that they need this condition. So, and that would be problematic because the condition is basically to remove the parking pad. And that's why you might want to consider a deferral to speak with transportation to see if you can sort it out with them so that we aren't in a tough position where to approve the things you want to approve, we have to also impose this condition that you wouldn't want.
Through you, Madam Chair, I think
Yes.
it's also should be noted that just because it was done years ago doesn't make it legal. And so now that we have an application before us, we have to ensure that everything is legalized. But the deferral would be more to have the discussion with transportation. I don't believe they'll change their mind. It's more to determine if that parking spot is removed, what other variances will be added to this, yes.
well, if it's removed, it's not gonna change their need to put a third-story
No,
addition.
No, but you may require an additional variance for no parking on site. That's the situation.
So in my.
Aren't we stating the obvious, though? I mean, they're not gonna change. If they've made this report,
What is before us today are variances. If those variances are to change, we need the opportunity to send out a public hearing notice, or else you're back before committee with a brand-new application and new fees.
we're gonna be in that situation.
So, no, you won't be in that situation if you consider a deferral and request the committee to defer your application today to ensure that we get this correct.
So a deferral gives you several opportunities. It gives you an opportunity to consult with your clients and figure out how you want to go forward and how you want to address transportation's issue. It could be that you talk to transportation and work through, at least you'll fully understand the situation, how the parking pad got there and whatever, who knows. And as staff explained, it will also make sure that all the variances are taken care of and you can come up with a new plan that really addresses the thing. I mean, the deferral doesn't have to be for that long, but I think it will be really valuable for you to talk to your clients and figure out all the implications of what transportation is saying.
I would mention, because, I hear the pushback on the deferral, and I'm a strong believer that, justice delayed can be justice denied. So it's, if you really don't want it deferred, the committee can consider this today. But I think what we're trying to say is that you could end up with some unpleasant outcomes, including needing to come back with a fresh application for some variance that gets identified when this goes to building permit anyway, with a fresh application fee rather than a deferral that would mean that you wouldn't need to pay a fresh application fee if that is the case. So that's sort of your option. But you are within your right to ask us to make a decision today, and we will do that if that's your choice. We're just trying to outline the benefits of a deferral.
I understand the benefits of the deferral, and I appreciate that. It's not up to me to decide to defer. Anouk can decide on that, and it's the safest route. I just don't understand how it's going to change on the issues of a third-story addition, which is really the meat and potatoes of why we're here.
Okay, in that that case, you do not want to have a deferral?
No, let's
no,
ask the owner.
The owner.
Also,
Yes, well, I'm a bit surprised, and yes, I was not prepared for that, and my husband is traveling to India right now, so I can't really discuss anything with him. I have two questions. One is that we can see on our street many of our neighbors parking on their front yard, including people who bought their houses recently next to us on each side, actually. Some have an exemption from the city and some have a permit to park on their driveway. So I was just wondering how come we are in this situation in the middle, of these two neighbors with no driveway while they have theirs. So to me, that seems, a little bit unfair. And the second question is, how does the parking impact the third floor, in the sense that if we are here today, it is really to discuss this, and I would like to at least know your opinion on that, to see if it's worth trying to negotiate with the transportation authorities.
Can I answer those questions? Actually, it seems that neither of you have read the transportation report.
Neither
so I
of
think
us.
maybe it is a good opportunity to actually read it, because it has stated the reasons. And also to compare the existing condition with other property is almost irrelevant. It seems that it's not like cutting out the opportunity to get a permit. They just ask you to contact them and go through the proper process of discussion about the front yard parking space. So I was thinking that it doesn't seem that you have read the report.
No, I didn't even know it existed.
Maybe I will prefer,
It's been sent very recently, and we are, of course, very...
That is the main point. I mean, that if you haven't read it, you will not understand the detail of the reasons that they stated. I think that maybe it's beneficial to you to read it, and then discuss with transportation and come back, and then there's nothing...
Okay, so I just would like to suggest something. We are, of course, very open to discuss with the transportation. We are open to pay a permit to use our own driveway. That's not a problem at all. We are in favor of regulating everything, but we would also appreciate not to waste too much time. And if we can, agree on the fact that we will resolve that issue with the transportation, is it possible to...
That is the only way to let you have the chance is to defer this application. If you do not prefer the deferral, we will hear it now, and then you will have a decision. Is that what you want?
If we defer, I've been here since 9. I was asked to come a half hour early. If we defer, can we hear your comments on the other aspects of this proposal?
No. Yes.
No. Please defer. We would...
Anouk, let's just defer, please.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. So, any comment, any motion, please? Yeah. Okay, Mr. Wee.
I'll make a motion to defer so that the applicants can have time to resolve the issue with transportation regarding the front yard parking.
Okay, anyone second that? Sure. Yeah, Peter Wee second that. All in favor? Yeah, it's deferral granted unanimously, so take the opportunity to clear that out. I think it's better. You will probably save more time.
Yes, no, I understand the time.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Why is it isn't sent to us, though? That I don't understand.
It's,
through you, Madam Chair, it's the obligation of the homeowner and the agent to review the website.
Why is that?
That's the process.
But
right? It's your application. Everything is posted because everything comes in electronically to us. And so it's the obligation of those that have submitted the application to ensure that they review all of the information that's
So it's a system, though, where if you don't know there's something out there, you have to sort of search through.
Well, you're not searching. The website is there, and it's updated daily.
Which website?
It's the Application Information Center. And you go directly to your file, and all of the materials are listed.
And what I would also mention is it's not, there's a difference between when you're dealing with the department of the city and they're writing you letters, and then those letters will get sent to you. This information was contained in a report that was to the committee, so it was a report to us, but it's a publicly available report, and that's why the process is a publicly available report to the committee is on the website.
And also, I'd like to mention that this is actually quite a standard practice to check what's been added before the hearing. A lot of agents or applicants will do that.
Okay.
Yeah, this is also unique. You know, transportation identifying an existing non-compliant situation doesn't happen all the time. So
I agree.
It's a unique situation.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we have explained ourselves well, and then let's move on to the next item. We go back to item 11, which is 23 Mro Avenue. Let me get. And for this application is to alter the existing two-story detached dwelling by constructing a third floor addition with a rear steel first floor covered patio, and it's seeking one variance. And on this, we also received site plan, floor plan, elevation, supporting material from the agent, and we receive comments from community planning, and a revised comment from them, an advisory report from Metrolinx and also Urban Forestry. So we are ready for the agent. Or the applicant.
Through you, Madam Chair, yes, we just have the agent online, so she will be unmuted at this time.
Doesn't seem to have any opposition registered.
No opposition.
Okay, let's go.
Hello, Mary?
Hello, Chair.
Yes, we are ready. You do not have any opposition.
That's correct.
I'm going to check with the panel whether they would like to have a presentation from you. No, nobody needs with presentation from you. So we are ready to move into a discussion. And do you have anything you want to address the panel? Please say so now. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for your time, Madam Chair and members of the committee. The only matter that I wanted to bring your attention was that we were offered a condition to provide privacy screening. I'm not sure if you have it on file.
Yes, we do. I think you do have that. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, as you can see, I'm not sure if you guys have the floor plans in front of you, but the whole point of adding this third floor addition was to give the homeowner more room for recreational activities, including a sauna. And the biggest item that was on his list was to have a sauna and overlook CN Tower, because as you walk on the third floor, you have a view of CN Tower, which is on the east side of this property. I'm wondering if you could revisit this condition, and since we have never had any objections from any neighbors, could we revisit this condition and see if we could eliminate it? But if it results in any refusal, I would proceed with convincing the owner to provide the screening.
Okay, is the CN, did you say CN Tower? Sorry. Okay, is
Yes.
the CN Tower on the south, which side? What I mean, can
East side.
Is on the east side?
Yes, right where you're, yeah.
So if we say that you put screen on the east and the west, which is quite not very big, but then you can still have a very big exposure to the northeast, right?
Sorry, I lost.
No, what I mean is they only suggest to have private screen from the east on the east and west edges. The front of your balcony is open. I mean, you can have just what you have proposed.
Oh, okay. So we only have to provide it for the front of the building, not the rear, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, then in that case, we would accept the condition.
Yes, I think that it should be okay, right?
It's the south side.
Yeah, it's the south side is open, right? There's no suggestion of a privacy screen. It's only east and west. Yeah, so I thought that all the south side is quite open.
Yeah, just the sides, the property line sides are screened, and then the
Understood.
facing your rear yard doesn't need to be screened.
Yeah, and also quite wide, quite wide. So.
Understood. Yes, and then we won't have any problems.
Okay, that's good. So that's the only issue you have. But so we're going to move the application and discussion. Okay, right now, like comment and.
Just a question.
Oh, you have a question, yeah, to the agent.
No, to staff for you, there's two different reports from planning. One of them is for 1.8 meter height, and one of them is 1.5 meters.
Oh, I think they have the revised one, which is 1.5.
The revised one is 1.5?
Yeah. They have corrected that, yeah, but 1.8 is very high, yeah.
Sorry, through you. I actually take the view that the applicant's agent is right, that no one has actually complained about this. So I'm not sure that privacy screening actually is needed in every case. And I do think that their view of the CN Tower would be much better without the east screening, because if you look, at a map, the CN Tower is very much southeast, so they're not really going to have a view of it if we only permit them the south view, versus the south and east view would, and it's quite a dense, very downtown neighborhood where I'm not sure how much privacy is to be expected. So, but if the majority of my colleagues disagree with that, and prefer to put on the condition, I'm not going to be a stick in the mud about it.
Okay, we can get another opinion on just the privacy screen, then we can move into a motion. Yes,
yeah, I think that the 1.5 meter isn't super high. And we have been asking for privacy screening on third floors especially. And also the sauna is actually quite set, like at the furthest end away from what would be these privacy screenings. So I think that there still probably would be a view. So given that planning has made unusually, an effort to ask for privacy screening, I'm thinking perhaps they have a reason. So I would go for the 1.5 meter privacy screening. I think that they'll still get a good view of the CN Tower. It's pretty tall.
Okay.
What about you, Peter?
No, I hear you. I understand your point, Phil. I think that in every case it's not necessarily required, but the fact that community planning has come in, and that they do have a little bump out at the back of the third floor that I think they could push the hot tub as far south as they can, and I think they'd have an opportunity.
And I'd like to add just maybe my 2 cents on this, because I think that if you're going our way to protect a view, that will set some kind of unreasonable precedence, that because views are not protected, right? One thing is that maybe some people are not a fan of CN Tower anyway, but I do not know. Well, I would tend to take the recommendation of the planning report.
Also, actually, in the sauna, like you can sit higher up, right? So they probably have TCs right over the screen.
So okay, we've seen that.
I've been convinced, and yeah, I do like to pay deference to city staff.
So what, would you like to make a motion to?
Sure, I'll make the motion. I'll make the motion to approve it with the planning condition.
With the planning condition. Second, please. Yeah, Mr. Wee, second. Yeah, and all in favor, please, with plan condition, privacy screen.
Maybe we should specify the planning condition for 1.5 meters just to.
Yes, it's the revised report.
Through you, Madam Chair, we can say the revised report dated February the 9th.
Yeah. Okay. All in favor? Oh, we already voted, right?
Yeah.
Unanimously. Forgot, we voted twice. Unanimous. Okay. So next item is going back 16, right? Okay. Number 16 is 153 Fairview Avenue, and this is to construct a new one-story auxiliary building for habitable and space and storage space in the rear yard. The existing auxiliary building, which is a detached garage, will be demolished. They are seeking 2 variances. And on this, we also receive a copy of surveys, site plan, floor plan, elevation, and 1 photograph of the property, and 11 photographs of trees on the property, email correspondence from the agent, and 3 photographs of the subject property. I do not believe we have registered opposition here.
Through you, Madam Chair, we just have the agent online speaking for this
So,
application.
Yes, please, we are ready for the agent.
Dana Evans, you've been unmuted.
Hello?
Hi.
Yes.
Hi, there we go. Good afternoon, members and Madam Chair. I'm Dana Evans from 209 Design, and I live at 15905 Side Road 17 in Sunderland.
Okay, because we do not have any opposition, I'm going to go through the panel whether they need a presentation from you first.
Okay.
That they do not need a presentation from you. Okay, in that case, we are ready to make a decision or move into discussion. Do you have anything you want to address the panel before we do that?
I guess not, if they don't have any questions.
Do you have anything to tell us that you like?
Not that's already sort of stated in the minor variance. We're just looking to remove that parking space to create 50% softscape, and we would like to build an accessory structure.
Okay, thank you. That's it, right? So we are in committee now. Yeah. And comments or a motion is quite straightforward. Yeah, Peter.
Sure, thanks, Chair. Yeah, I do think this is really straightforward and a desirable use for the property, I think, rather than just a garage, right? This is a more usable space. My only concern is should we be looking at this more from the perspective of a garden suite or something, but there's no plumbing. And I think it's fair that people be able to use garages in a more comfortable way than being in my garage. So yeah, I'm happy, unless anyone has any comments, I'm happy to move approval without condition.
Okay, with no condition. Anyone second to that motion? Yeah, Mr. Reed, a second.
I just want to say that I think it's.
Sorry.
Oh, well, I'm
Yeah,
seconding the motion, but adding the comment that I think it's actually, it's in a lot of ways good to be removing parking and reducing car dependence. So
And
that's
also
also a
they
good
add
aspect.
soft landscaping.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think it's a good, so all
So I
in favor?
second.
With no condition, approved unanimously, okay. The next item is 17, right? We just move, there's no argument in this. Item 17 is 44 Henderson Avenue. For this application, the purpose is to convert the existing 2-story row house from 1 unit to 2 by constructing a complete first-story addition and with a front first-story terrace in the rear 3-story addition and with a sunken terrace and stairs, a rear ground platform with stairs, a rear rooftop terrace, many terraces, and rear exterior staircase. Also construct a front 2nd-story balcony. They are seeking for 8 variances. And on this item, we also receive a copy of the survey, site plan, floor plans, and elevations, 2 photographs of the property and supporting material from the agent, and 13 letters of support, 6 from Henderson Avenue and 3 from Grace Street, and another 2 from Gore Street, and also from Grace Street, 1 more, and from 47 Henderson Avenue received later. Yeah, 1 formal letter in support signed by owner occupant of 46 Henderson Avenue. So we are ready for the agent.
Through you, Madam Chair, we did receive a very late comment from number 42 Henderson Avenue. It's in our very late materials. It came through last night.
Okay.
With concern about the construction. But we do have the agent online and no registered speakers for this item. So at this time, we'll unmute Joanne Lamb. Joanne, can you hear us?
Oh, hello, good afternoon. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes.
So my name is Joanne Lamb, and I am the representative of the owner on 44 Henderson Avenue.
Yes. It seems that there aren't any registered oppositions here, except that there's a late letter of concern from 42 Henderson. Can you address to that or speak to that briefly? Yeah.
Absolutely. In fact, the owner has been in contact with her neighbor quite a bit, but her neighbor, as stated in her letter, recently gave birth and just got back home yesterday. So there were a couple of things that we weren't able to discuss in detail with this neighbor, simply because our client doesn't want to put undue pressure on her, given that she is giving birth. So from what we understand, her major concerns are noise during construction for her as well as her new baby. That's something that we'll need to discuss with her once we get into the whole permit process and the construction process. But otherwise, in terms of her concerns regarding the building envelope, in terms of heights of the building, we did submit a height diagram comparing what we're proposing against what is allowed by the zoning bylaw. In terms of the length of the building, we are aligning the back of the building to 46, and in fact, it's actually shorter than 42. And then regarding the impact on the property, we submitted a shadow studies to show what would be the shadow impact, and we would submit that the impact is quite minimal in terms of shadows. We are adding a third floor, but it is sufficiently set back in the front and the back, which is why there's so many terraces, to mitigate any sort of shadow impact on the neighbors. And I believe those are her major concerns. Of course, she also has concerns about the lack of structural engineer on the project, and that is true. But the plan is to, once we get through committee of adjustment, then we will engage structural as well as mechanical engineers on the project once we know what the building envelope we have and that the interior layouts are okay by the client.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. So any questions to the applicant? Oh, yeah. So we do not have any more questions, and we are ready to move it into discussion and make a decision. Any last comment from you?
No, okay. Thank you.
Okay, now we are in discussion. Yes,
Thanks, Chair. I'll start. I think this is a really nice project, and I think it's showing quite a bit of restraint, especially in terms of the depth and the impact from the depth that could happen and often happens in applications like this. But they've purposefully, as the applicant stated, limited that extension. And yes, this does go quite a bit higher than the immediate neighbors, but I think it completely fits in with the neighborhood. And the overlook has been handled, I think, sensitively, and the fact that there's two nice size units in a tight neighborhood, and I think this is fully supportable. So if no one has further comments, I'm happy to move approval without condition.
Anyone second to that motion?
Sure, yeah.
Mr. Goss, yes.
Gladly, I think that was well stated.
Yes. And are all in favor? Approved with no conditions unanimously. Okay, next item. Oh, we are done for the morning session. So what time? So 2 o'clock we shall be back. Thank you.